hope everybody is ready because we have got a series ahead of us here today. Kiljardi up against Scarlet Devil. And it is gonna be a Dry Arabia opening here between the two. And look at these civilizations. Chinese up against the Sengoku Daimyo. Some very, very strong picks early on here in the set.
Yeah, we saw a lot of the prioritization on like the strongest civs last series in the first game on Dry Arabia. Same thing here. Sengoku, Byzantines, the two choices for Scarlet Devil, and Kiljardi actually opting not to snipe out Sengoku. I guess isn't quite as scared of the Sengoku pick as we saw Baltoon in the last series.
Kiljardi, he is a very knowledgeable player, and He's got this style, he got this very weird style about him, where a lot of times players got like a very clear game plan, while Kiljardi, his plan first of all is, how do I disrupt my opponent? How do I like get a lot of units out? How do I just make the game uncomfortable for my opponent? And he's so good at doing that, and I'm sure that against a civilization like the Sengoku, which can be very easy, I want to say, to annoy on the Yatais out on the map and in general on the gold gathering, I think a player like Kiljardi is going to be excelling at that play. And here we got a little bit of a head-to-head here. Series count, one series so far, but it has been relatively even. 2-1 between both Kiljardi and Scarlet Devil. And that is still the Photoshop version, right? For those of you that don't know, Kiljardi actually, like, submitted a Photoshop version of himself as a mugshot to to be used in the tournament. He's much younger looking. He made himself look older in the mugshot.
You know, it'd be funny is if every single update he just makes himself look like 10 years older and 10 years older until all of a sudden it's like, okay, come on now, that's absolute BS. Oh. But Kiljardi, you know, keeping some excitement as far as the player pictures go, and always keeping excitement as far as the games go, as I feel like he is definitely one of the more exciting players to watch his games, to cast as well. It's not always, you know, by the books, by the meta. He is a pretty aggressive player at times.
Yeah, he most certainly is, and it's, as I said, like, he really knows how to turn the tables on you, how to, like, make the game uncomfortable, put you into awkward positions, some situations where you're just not really expecting him to recommit into military units. Instead, at some point, you're like, surely now he's gonna just go for the Asia play, but instead, he just continues pumping out units, has them at very, very, like, awkward positions there for you. He's very good in general when it comes to, like, microing individual groups of units and just having them all game throughout at, like, resources, just waiting for a villager to appear nearby.
Yeah, I mean, that is one where, you know, everyone plays the game of AoE pretty differently, and that is one of the things where, you know, we heard Baltoon talk about, you know, not being able to figure out Scatterbrain, you know, on some of the gameplays. Obviously, they didn't have a lot of series against each other, and you can follow that up. Same thing here. Kiljardi's not the easiest player to figure out, and Scarlet Devil and them, they've only played once. It was 2-1, so this should be another tight series we have at hand.
Indeed, indeed, it could very well be. Scarlet Devil, of course, yeah. He plays a lot with players like Louis MT and CSO in general, like in the Chinese community. And he's got that, I want to say, like, Chinese playstyle towards him. I talk about a lot, like the Chinese players, they have like their own sort of meta going on most of the time. But now, it is time for us to jump into that game number one. We've got Scarlet Devil in the color yellow, playing as the Sengoku Daimyo here on Dry Arabia. His opponent, though, on the other side of the map. We got Kiljardi playing as the Chinese.
Yeah, so playing as the Chinese versus Sengoku, this is one where we don't get to cast much Sengoku anymore just because of how, you know, top of the meta a lot of the players, you know, hold them in. And so we'll see what Scarlet Devil has in store for himself. We see the first Yatai on out, and probably looks like moving over to the boar.
Yeah, looks like it. Of course, the boar is going to be able to fully fill out the Yatai. There's going to be a lot of early food gathering there. Going to be able to get these nice little trader cards out to the Matsuri very nice and early on. As that is going to be one of the main ways for the Sengoku to be able to scale the economy long term. Getting that trading buff up on the Mitsuri and just buffing all nearby villagers.
Exactly. We have seen a lot of these openings kind of change just a little bit as buffs or as these civs get figured out a little bit. So we've seen, you know, a lot of players did opt for 3 Yatai early on. Now kind of a lot of players will opt for just 2, making sure that those 2 will stay secure and not vulnerable and not delay their age up too much. So we will see if Scarlet Devil ends up going for 2 or 3, and with him being still on the wood, I'd assume he's actually going for the 3rd one.
Yeah, full 3 early Yatais. It's going to provide him with a lot of food relatively early on here, and has some great spots to put the Yatais, as that's a deer pack right next to the large berry pack, so that should also be enough to fully fill out the Yatai food gathering there for the full 60 food per minute.
Yeah, it feels so good able to get a couple solid locations, and I actually am one that prefer the split locations as well. It makes them so much harder for your opponent to kind of just focus in on one spot. You just pull them back. If they don't kill it, you heal it back to full and move back out, and just makes the armies get spread thin and run all around.
Academy getting put up rather quickly behind this. Of course, as the Chinese, you do want to get that age up in sooner rather than later. Just because currently in the meta, it is just common to not make Imperial officials early on. You do, of course, want them in as soon as possible, so you get the Imperial Academy, rush it up a little bit quicker, and you'll be able to make those Imperial officials at no villager, or rather no TC idle time, and with a little bit of a discount as well.
Yeah, it's actually crazy how quick the Chinese age up comes through, and then they're able to get those extra, you know, pseudo villagers on out, and it just feels like they get so much going for their economy early on, and that will be able to, you know, somewhat counteract the Yatai passive food bonuses that Scarlet Devil will be getting for himself.
Kiljardi now just trying to look out for where those Yatais could be. Is going to find one over here. Toka Township. Age up is going to be coming in for Scarlet Devil, so we'll have access to the Shinobi. Going to be nice for any bigger fights early on, or even just to deter any early raids.
Yeah, I mean, they're just the debuff that they cause is just so strong when you, like you said, taking those bigger engagements. So we will see when those bigger engagements start to happen, as Kiljardi still just focusing on getting a few more Imperial officials out, maybe one more coming here soon, and we will see what production building he ends up dropping. There's the 3rd one in queue, and the stables.
Yeah, so it looks like he is just going to be opening up, potentially with a couple of horsemen. Makes a lot of sense just to have the mobility, be able to put a little bit of pressure on to those Yatais, and later on is going to be opening yourself up for a transition into the Pro Scouts as well.
Yep, looks like Scarlet Devil opting for an outpost over on his gold vein, so knows that that could be an easy location for Kiljardi to start doing some raiding with those horsemen. Toka Township is now finished on up, and feudal ages now for both of these players. I do love the short wall that Scarlet Devil's dropping in between those 2 forward wood lines. Just, you know, makes it so much harder for Kiljardi to get in, get some information, and allows those wood villagers to just stay a little bit safer.
And Kiljardi moving out there to the deer immediately. Actually not going to be utilizing Pro Scout at all. Now gets a barracks up as well, so just going to be going for the immediate aggression. Little wall in between the 2 forward wood lines there for Scarlet Devil.
And those horsemen going over to try to hit that Yatai that was on the boar. So like I said, Scarlet Devil just should be able to pull that one on home. Shouldn't have too much damage go down unless we see some great body blocking here from Kiljardi. He's trying to do the best to slow the Yatai, to make it have some awkward pathing on its way home. Trader pops on out of it and will actually get taken down.
That is so important. Kiljardi basically denying 5% of the income for Scarlet Devil there. Pretty big denial. Is going to see that he's going to be walled in a little bit over here, though. Able to keep the horseman alive, though. Yeah, that is a pretty big pop-off, like a pretty big denial there on the early gathering for Scarlet Devil, who just got a Daimyo out to try and do some damage as well.
Yeah, and now if I'm kiljardi, I just circle around and go for that other Yatai that is on the deer and berries. Just continually try to, push my opponent's Yatais off, make sure that passive bonus is not being utilized to the fullest effectiveness. And oh my, no way does he time this next one perfectly as well. Has full vision of it. Damage coming down. There is an outpost.
Just jumping
Villagers
inside.
jump inside the outpost, but not able to get enough damage on in. One horseman does fall, but a huge pickup there for kiljardi.
Yeah, and just like that, kiljardi denying 10% of the economy bonus from the Mitsuri, from Scarlet Devil. And no way, is that yet the Yatai is actually blocked?
It's not moving.
No, mind. It's not blocked. Okay, that would have been insane.
I thought it was stuck. Villagers need to get pulled. Oh, it got stuck. At least body blocked on out. Villager gonna try to go repair it, but it's gonna arrive just a little too late. And now that villager is gonna get focused down as well. So a triple pickup there for kiljardi now, as this early horseman play has just proven so strong against Sengoku. Scarlet Devil, one drop off away from Castle Age though.
Yeah, he is gonna be going for that Castle Age, most likely gonna be with the Saka Brewery. But behind this, I mean, kiljardi, a little bit of a thing that could be a little bit detrimental to him is that he didn't actually send an Imperial official out towards the deer. So he's not gathering too efficiently from them. Behind this, I mean, the Castle Age we just talked about, Scarlet Devil is going to be getting that Castle Age in at a pretty good timing. Sakapuri also nicely positioned in between the outpost and the TC. Is going to be difficult to harass that early on. And yeah, the Mounted Samurai is going to be a great unit to scale into here for the Sengoku Daimyo.
That last Yatai is trying to go hide in the corner.
Yes, I think he just saw it with the scout. I think he saw it with the scout just before. Maybe not. He had the scout here.
I think he saw it trying to hide. He knows it's somewhere, and sure enough. So only one single Yatai left on out for Scarlet Devil. So a lot of that bonus to his economy is not there at all. kiljardi can start kind of trying to bank up resources for his own Castle Age and delay Scarlet Devil from doing anything with the military mass that he already has out.
Drop has now been reached, but yeah, it's enough spearmen here to be able to deal with these early mounted samurai, while kiljardi is not too far from... Actually, he's researching siege engineering now. He does have a lot of resource in the bank, so I'm not sure if he actually wants to push. But I think he just started with the ram. Oh, lost one villager, though, to the boar.
That's always a little bit of a feels bad. He is going ahead and building the ram, but at the same time, it feels like he's going up to castle. I can't get a gauge on what he actually wants to do here. Barbican of the Sun is the choice, so it is not a Castle Age. It is going to be Song Dynasty to also combine with this little bit of a feudal all-in, but not really feudal all-in.
There is Ram now going to be moving forward. kiljardi doubling down on the aggression early on here in this one. But he's still not remassing more military units, so I still kind of get the feeling that this is eventually just going to be a Castle Age play from as well. But yeah, it's a lot of pressure coming in now on Scarlet Devil, who's just trying to take the ram down. And yeah, good positioning there on the Knights. Will lose the Daimyo, but will be able to take the ram down and also escape with the Mounted Samurai, though Villager being left behind there is also going to be able to stay alive.
Yeah, it's a really good defense there from Scarlet Devil. Didn't have a ton of units, but just utilized the outpost, utilized the annoying pathing that AoE 4 will give you sometimes to take down the ram and not lose too much for it. And it's still just mounted samurais for Scarlet Devil. Meanwhile, kiljardi now researching every single eco tech and about to be able to click up.
Will most likely be going for the Imperial Palace just to have that additional line of sight. And with the villagers all forward here like this, Actually, it's gonna be next to the wood line. Scarlet Devil, though, he's got a pretty decent amount of mounted samurai. Isn't too far behind in the village. It's actually not behind in the village department at all. If you consider that kiljardi did, of course, get bonus economy in through the Imperial officials. Scarlet Devil not in a bad spot at the moment, though he will need to rebuild some of the yatais, as he's currently only at 1 out of 5.
Yeah. The good old shinobi were forced out. Kiljardi going ahead and investing into a big wall on the backside of his base. So front side will be protected by the Barbican, backside protected by the wall, and the Imperial Palace will give him the nice old vision that he needs for the whole mid-map, and to potentially, you know, find some spots that Scarlet Devil moved out to, which he hasn't yet, that are vulnerable. Mounted samurai spot out the Barbican, spot out the outpost.
Yeah, we're getting some Yumi Archers now as a follow-up from Scarlet Devil. A nice little unit that you're able to really pump up in numbers just to have something out on the field, not just when it comes to like these individual fights, as kiljardi is making some crossbows as well. Oh, Outpost does find those villagers. Villagers going to be able to jump to safety there, though.
Yeah, good job by Scarlet Devil just making sure 5 go into the outpost and the other 3 actually run back to the base and don't have this weird pathing where they can't decide where they want to go. Kiljardi, though, still trying to take down these villagers, still trying to get some economic damage. And instead, he spots out the gold villagers.
Oh,
Might
Horseman
be able to
pathing.
pick up one.
Isn't actually getting a single
doesn't.
one and loses a lot of the units there. Unfortunate pathing for him at the same time. Scarlet Devil trying to find some damage on his side.
Yeah, the damage was just so split up from the horsemen. They had some weird pathing around the gold vein, and now Kiljardi, though, he was making a transition away from the horsemen anyways. Wasn't getting them, you know, veterancy upgraded or anything of that sort. It's just going to be crossbows and knights. Will slowly eke out an economic benefit over time with the Song Dynasty.
Yeah, Song Dynasty making sure those villagers are going to be produced just a little bit quicker. We do see Scarlet Devil now going for the first religious unit, so Iko Monk is going to be out on the field and trying to bring back some of those relics. Kiljardi now also adding in some additional scouts for some additional line of sight, some additional vision around the map. This wall-off I don't think is going to be in time. Looks like Kiljardi is instead going to try and go for some quick walls here. This is not going to be in time.
Yeah, if the first wall-off, if he can't rebuild that one, the next wall-off will not happen unless Scarlet Devil's not paying full attention.
Oh! Yeah. That also
still
works.
a gap.
Yeah. Army is trying to catch him off guard there, though, but the Mounted Samurai are going to be able to escape. None do go down. Can we quickly check the movement speed on these Mounted Samurai? Is the upgrade already in? It is, so the Mounted Samurai do get the additional 10% movement speed here, and are going to be pretty much impossible for Kiljardi to really catch off guard there. We now have our first hot dog stand in the Mitsuri.
Yep, crossbows will be able to, you know, do some decent jobs if the fight aren't being fully head-on taken, just sniping out, getting some damage here and there. Like you said, the first hot dog card, we're back up to 4 out of the 5 yatai for Scarlet Devil, so was able to get that number back and healthy again. Looks like he's moving out to some of these other pocket food resources, so this is when things can get scary for him, as Kiljardi should end up getting knowledge and information of this.
Oh, and once again, able to get a villager kill there on the wall. It hasn't been quite completed yet. Kiljardi almost up to 20 crossbows, but a really good mass of Yumi Archers behind this for Scarlet Devil. Veterancy is only just now on the way, though. Looks like the Iko Monk is going to get found out as he's trying to bring the relic back.
Relic should get denied, gets close to getting denied, but actually slips on through, should not be able to take the fight, doesn't want to take the fight. There's a lot of spears here, a lot of crossbows here. Yumi need to start sniping down the crossbows, but there's just so many.
And Veterancy is still halfway out and not in a position where he really wants to be. We are seeing another Daimyo getting added into. Very important. Getting that additional attack speed means that he can do a lot more damage to the Spearmen and the crossbows is going to allow a lot more opportunity for the Mounted Samurai to engage. And now a recommitment from kiljardi onto the Knights, and we do see the beginning of a farm transition for kiljardi now as well.
Yep, triple granaries getting dropped on in that backside, way behind the walls. So it's planning for that big food transition that will be needed. But kiljardi pulling his army all the way back home, playing this nice and patient and conservatively, knowing that, hey, you know, let's get this food economy up and rolling before taking an engagement, or else that could just be the end of him. Only 6 farms being dropped with about 20 villagers building them.
It's now moving out to try and gather up some information there for kiljardi. Looks like he's feeling pretty content so far, also trying to pick up some relics behind all of this now himself. Yeah, farm transition at a pretty decent timing, I want to say. Oh, a little distraction, Wololo. Scarlet Devil finds the scout from kiljardi. He's going to be able to chase that one down with the superior movement speed of his knights.
Scout from Scarlet Devil just doing some work with his torch over there. He's got nothing better to do as of now. Isn't taking damage from the Barbican, so, you know, at least feels like he's doing something. Other Yatai spotted out, though, and taken down again.
And at this point, kiljardi with the Song Dynasty villager lead has expanded by quite a bit more. There's a little unfortunate gap there between some of the farms on the granaries.
Yeah, just not quite as
you know that
as efficient.
You can.
It's not quite.
I just want to say I love the way the game automatically fills these gaps with like little details. As we can see, like the game automatically put like a little road there, but at the same time engagement's being taken underneath the Barbican.
And you don't want to take this engagement underneath the Barbican with all of those Yuumi. Yuumi are sniping out the spears, doing a great job there. Probably a little bit of overkill, but still taking a lot of return damage. Crossbows here, spears here as well. Scarlet Devil is taking the fight under this Barbican, choosing it. And I am not sure if this is going to go well for him.
Still so many spears alive. Mounted Samurai numbers diminished greatly. Scarlet Devil, yeah, this engagement was not what he was looking for.
Mounted Samurai numbers so thin. Even if he starts to remass those, how effective are they going to be against that many Lancers, against that many crossbows on the other side? Wall about to be burnt. So some of those Yuumis that were getting remasked, it was vulnerable as well. kiljardi with a big pickup there for himself.
And I don't think... Can we check out the archers here? The Yuumi archers from Scarlet Devil? I don't think they got the... Actually, okay, he does have the daimyo for them, so they do have the additional +1 pierce damage. So they do the normal damage as a normal archer would be doing. And the outposts here from Scarlet Devil have all been reinforced. Needs to be careful with the villagers, though. Looks like most of them are going to be able to... Yeah, actually, all but one able to get away. Say,
okay. Oh, the one even gets away.
All of them able to stay alive, minus the Yatai. No hot dog stands allowed here.
Yeah, and it does pick up a few, 3-4 Lancers go down for that with the spring on them placements with all of the outpost investment.
That's pretty good.
Not a bad trade for Scarlet Devil at all, but he's going to need more of those with the fight that he took before that. It kind of took quite heavy losses there, and kiljardi is trying to just wall off more and more of this map and just take more of the map for himself. He's got 5 more knights in queue, so that has been the full kind of transition for kiljardi. He said, all right, after winning that fight substantially, even if you're massing only mounted samurais, I'll be able to keep the number healthier on my side and just have more units than you will.
17 Lancers out on the field, still a lot of crossbows to boot. And the farm transition pretty much fully done. It's now 1.2 thousand food per minute here for kiljardi. Meanwhile, just around 700 for Scarlet Devil, still only on 1 out of 5 Yatais. Just hasn't been able to, like, with the non-stop raids out on the map, from kiljardi. He hasn't been able to mass the number up there again.
Yep. Looks like Scarlet Devil is deciding to make the Spearman transition as well, feeling the pressure, knowing that, hey, I might have to get a little bit more defensive after losing that big engagement that he did. But it just is going to get worse and worse for him as this food economy for kiljardi is just exploding. 1.6k per minute compared to 700. kiljardi just massing up behind his oddly shaped walls.
Villagers out there on gold. Has a pretty good food bank, or rather gold bank, and 42 villagers at the moment out on food. Meanwhile, Scarlet Devil only on 23 villagers on food. The villager difference, considering just for how long kiljardi has been in Song Dynasty now, isn't too big. And Scarlet Devil is on 3 relics. Is now also starting to pick off that ore, so we'll be able to get a little bit more food gathering in through that as well. Deer about to run out soon, though. And the one Mitsuri that he has is in front of his base, so it's not easy to defend. And this is quite the army now. 30 Lancers, 6 more in queue. Scarlet Devil, he's at barely 14 Mounted Samurai. Only just now starting to produce a couple of the Ashigaru handgunners as well.
Yeah, this is a big timing for kiljardi too, because it's right when Scarlet Devil's running out of that deer. He will need to move back across. Will need to move back to find a different food resource. The chop through has happened. A few villagers on the woodline fall. kiljardi doesn't want to pull the trigger yet. Doesn't want to overstep himself and potentially walk into a fight that is a losing one.
All military numbers aren't bad. Just the army value, there's quite the gap between the two. Lancers finding the villagers that did just move out to the boar. All of them are going to be jumping inside of the outpost. Fortification upgrade is queued immediately.
Look at that army value lead graph just turned completely upside down after that fight. And now that, I mean, the fight got taken too when kiljardi had this extra eco boom starting behind it. So his mass is super scary. All the mounted samurai get pulled over to try to deal with the lancer raid on the boar. But now kiljardi decides to move forward on the other side of the base. Oh my gosh, villagers.
Oh no, the villagers just when they moved out to the deer. All of them are being found out. Scarlet Devil, does he realize in time? Looks like he does, but villagers gotta be trying to squeeze through that little gap there in the wood line.
Backline is still there for Scarlet Devil, though. Has been looking quite a bit healthier. But yeah, 50 Lancers. It feels like we're watching French. It feels like we're watching JD over here with how many cav units are out on the field here for Chinese. Back woodline needs to get moved on to with the rest of those vills. Another Yatai taken on down. kiljardi just still waiting to pull this trigger here. If I see I have 50 Lancers, though, I feel like it's more than enough to take the fight here.
It is, but you just feel like you have to be a little bit more patient, depending on the engagement angle that you take it from. It's not guaranteed that you win this fight, especially with like the choke points there around the wood line. If you take one bad engagement, losing this many knights leaves you in a position where you cannot easily remass the army.
Villagers just slowly getting picked off here and there, though, as Scarlet Devil just having a little bit of oversight. Economy starting to run a little bit thin.
Archers out of position. Mounted Samurai charging through. Fight is now finally being taken. Lancers trying to go for the full surround. Crossbows flying away from the backline as well. Scarlet Devil 40 archers. It just feels like the army from kiljardi, they don't really mind the archers as they're out there right now.
Shinobi gonna have a huge effect during this fight, though. Hopefully we'll be able to provide some of that debuff aura, but some of the Lancers split on off. More reinforcing Lancers coming on in, hitting more of the economy, hitting the reinforcing units in the backside. kiljardi, it might not have gone exactly how he wanted. He might not have had a super clean victory here, but still, it is a trade that maybe not gonna complain about just with the way that the ecos are at.
That's crazy. Hard to believe how this fight actually went there. The Shinobi, the debuff, actually just coming in absolutely clutch here, doing so much damage. Come on, quickly check out the damage on the Mounted Samurai. If all of the upgrades are in on them, there's not even all of the upgrades in on them. But they were able to completely obliterate there. That was crazy.
Yeah, I guess it's just that debuff from the Shinobi, but look at the food income for Kiljardi. He has 45 on food. He's got triple Sacred Sight. He's up 30 villagers at this point. So, yeah, it might not have been the best trade, but he will be able to remass so much easier if he wants. 11 archers all of a sudden. He's making the transition into archers.
Keep now getting put up on the large gold vein in the middle next to the Sacred Site as well. Great forward position here for Kiljardi to start a potential siege push towards Scarlet Devil's base. Scarlet Devil now with the second TC, yeah. Is going to try and catch up in the economy department. It's going to be difficult though. I mean, the food income for Kiljardi is just really solid at this point in the game, and he's got every single upgrade that he could be getting from the blacksmith and the economic buildings.
Yeah, and this is one of those things you'll see in a lot of people's games when they're behind in eco and they feel like they need to drop a second TC. But now Scarlet Devil has more food income going to villagers rather than army, and he really needs this army mass to continue to build, to continue to kind of stay at the same level as Kiljardi, or else he will actually get overrun. Obviously, last one didn't play out exactly how Kiljardi wanted, but the remass is happening fast, and you can see the differences in queues where Kiljardi's got 5 Lancers, 6 Archers in queue, and I think, yeah, Scarlet Devil has 1 unit in queue on his side.
Yeah, barely anything in production currently. The second TC also stretching the economy a little bit thin there, as 150 food per minute is just going down there for the additional second TC to produce villagers. And now Lancer's able to kill the villagers that were inside the outpost.
Yeah, more of the food economy going away. And all this time, Kiljardi still does have the Sacred Sites ticking. Another couple vills, so like Scarlet Devil's just lost 1, 2, 3 vills here consistently with all these small little pushes from Kiljardi, and it's really just been adding up with that Song Dynasty as well. Forward outpost on the deer taken down, so more food just denied. That Scarlet Devil can't get above 1,000 food per minute right now. Meanwhile, Kiljardi's at 2.5k. Lancer mass clearing up some random spears that out and about. Kiljardi looks like he might go try to burn the backside wall while still massing up on this front side. He should be ready for a siege here soon, but first, is that an age up coming through for him?
Looks to be, most likely. Great Wall Gatehouse is going to be coming up next to the farming area there. We'll be able to protect all of those farms. And behind this, all 3 sacred sites locked in. 6 minutes now remaining, and walls coming up. Are these stone walls or no? Just palisade walls. But there are some mounted samurai finding the villagers here potentially. Not all of them going for the engagement on them though. Try and catch up now. A couple of villager picks, but there is a keep nearby in the military as well.
Yeah, and Kiljardi's also 200 to 200, so while it might seem bad if, you know, him losing some villagers, that just means more military is going to pop out here in the near future. And military, there it is, Scarlet Devil, the Imperial Age didn't even finish, and Scarlet Devil just realizes, okay, I can't do anything here. There's nothing he could do. He sees the 2 different army masses and just not a chance to come back there. Great win there by Kiljardi. We'll get the correct graph up here in a second. Hold
the phone. Almost getting there. Another victory for Boltun. There we go. All right. Overall, yeah, pretty big economic lead there with the earlier farm transition. And just, yeah, it's the food difference at the end of the day, being able to produce just so many Lancers. Still, it's kind of crazy to think about the military drop there that happened for Kiljardi during that engagement inside of Scarlet Devil's base, where it really looked like with 50 knights he should have been able to win the fight outright. But yeah, that's where it just comes into play that these kind of things can be very, very deceiving with choke points, with the formation pathing and whatnot. And the Shinobi especially just helping a great deal. And here in the replay, once again, we see just the excellent plays there from kiljardi all around those Yatais, just sniping the traders, sniping the Yatais out, and just overall denying so much food income there for Scarlet Devil.
Yeah, the Yatai focus early on from kiljardi was just such a good job of slowing that Sengoku timing and tempo down. Like a lot of times, like people don't realize all of a sudden it's like, well, yeah, they've been having that passive food income, and also now my economy's super boosted up. But the last 10 minutes of the game, Scarlet Devil just didn't get any extra economy. His economy just stayed flat, and that's just the point where, you know, as time continued to go on, kiljardi took advantage of that with the amount of resources he was getting later on in the stages of the game. This is that big fight we were talking about that seemed like it should have gone so heavily favored for kiljardi, and just somehow ended up to be a pretty even engagement overall.
Yeah, overall, it's still so surprising just how that engagement overall went. Next up, though, Macedonians on front range for kiljardi up against the Holy Roman Empire for Scarlet Devil. I'm just gonna say this again. I'm not sure about the current state of the Holy Roman Empire in the game overall. I just feel like I rarely ever see them win a game unless it's with a messy game with a Burgrave Palace.
Yeah, we obviously that one got put to the test when we talked about it with Baltoon earlier, and took advantage of some food eco from the Delhi side that was running a little bit thin, and it made it look like HRE was, you know, part of the strongest civs in the meta. But ultimately, you know, HRE does seem weaker than a lot of these civs, especially with Macedonians being, you know, one of the prioritized pick, actually the number one prioritized pick there from kiljardi.
And Macedonians on a map like this, where there's a lot of resource out on the map that you do want to secure with an eventual castle age, the Golden Horn Tower just gives you so much security, so much agency on the map if you're able to put it up in a forward position to make it incredibly difficult for your opponent to not even just go for raids, but to just take resources out on the map.
Yeah, and I mean, Front Range is definitely, I would say, probably like the number one map. That and like Baldlands kind of are the first two that come to mind, that just almost like force you to move out a little bit earlier than what you want to. And Front Range is probably the number one there, that you will have to take map control or you will just lose. And it's not like this ticking time bomb like other maps where it's like, oh, 25 minutes and I'll have to. It's a much quicker timing here for Front Range.
Yeah, Front Range. It's such a cool and dynamic map. Overall, has to be said, like with the stealth forest there. I mean, we've seen like the intricate in the little like minute details playing out there with these neutral like outposts there. Just how much information you can get out of them, and how important it is to deny information as well, to deny the capturing of these neutral outposts there. Because in the last game that we saw on Front Range, the opponent, or in that case, Baltoon, managed to see 19 villagers move out early on in the game and able to catch those off guard. HRE, I mean, if we get to a similar position here where HRE needs to send out a lot of villagers, like it's going to be difficult for them without any like great unique units in the game to really like keep a position out there on the map.
Yeah, it definitely feels like, you know, HRE for so long, their strength was just, hey, my eco is going to be stronger than yours, plain and simple. With the Chapel, I'm going to be able to outproduce you. I'm going to be able to have better eco. I'm going to be able to age up quicker, whatever your focus on is. But now it feels like there's so many of these other civs now that have a lot of extra passive bonuses going for themselves that really just matches the Chapel, and that's where it feels like it's lost a lot of its like attraction here.
Now, I do have to mention that the last time we saw this map, it was actually HRE getting a victory in there. That was with the usage of the Minework Palace into... No, actually, it wasn't even Minework Palace. It was the Archon Chapel, and just mass military production early on, and just starving the opponent out of resources. This is actually one of the things, like, I think the main strategy that we're most likely going to be looking at here is going to have to be around an early resource denial against the Macedonians, just getting them away from the gold early on. Because if you deny the gold from the Macedonians, like, they're not going to get any silver. They have no way of getting any of the upgrades, any of the blacksmith upgrades. Their archers are going to be weak. their knights are not, or their horsemen are not going to have any bonus health, and I think there's not a better civilization in the game to do that than the HRE with the faster moving spearmen and the superior early economy with the inspiration there as well.
Yeah, so some things about the matchup that, you know, don't always get thought about, and there's so many civs now that it's hard to practice every single matchup that many times to know exactly, you know, what route to go or if there's a certain weakness that you should be worried about. But getting gold denied for Macedonians, like you said, just so much importance on that silver income that they have.
It really is a ton of income there. The inspiration just paying off dividends there time and time again. I think many players don't really like go for additional prels from the main TC, which I can understand because, of course, for every additional prel that you do produce as the game goes on, you're going to be down a villager. That's going to be idle time on the TC. But it just scales a lot better than additional villagers. And yeah, sometimes you just can't wait until Castle Age to get those prelates out. You should go for it earlier. And then it gives you an even easier transition into relic gathering should you go for Regnants, or just in general to pick up relics after a Castle Age transition.
Yeah, so we will see what strategies come at hand here in just a little bit. Game number 1 was quite the exciting one, quite the big engagement. It did, you know, we saw Sengoku finally get picked, and they got taken down very, very kind of, you know, not necessarily one-handedly, but it's one that Kiljardi just made the right moves, played that slow game, and now he has one of the newer civs for himself. So let's see if he can continue on this, you know, momentum that he has after taking the first game here.
Chinese, of course, also just being hailed as a pretty strong civilization in the current meta, and Kiljardi, he played it very well. You know, just, I talked about this beforehand, just how well he does when it comes to just making the game annoying or uncomfortable for the opponent. That's exactly what we saw there with the Yatai dives. Now it's about to see just how this one's going to be played out, as I think it's time for the HRE to make this a little bit more annoying for the Macedonians here for Kiljardi. And there it is, jumping right on into this one. We got Kiljardi spawning in the color either blue or red, depending on what you're looking at. Playing as the Macedonians, his opponent Scarlet Devil. Looks like it's not going to be a Dark Age early aggression play here from Scarlet Devil playing as the Holy Rome Empire.
Yeah, neither player opting for the early boar opening. Neither player, you know, opting for some of these Dark Age rushes like you mentioned. It is just normal. Let's get up to Feudal Age and we will see what goes from there.
Yeah, can I just say that Scarlet Devil has like an S tier spawn for the HRE for an Archon Chapel in the back of his base. Both a Woodline, Deer, and a Gold Vein all in the back of his base for Scarlet Devil. Like, that's a pretty good Archon spot. Like, sure, it's like a small Gold Vein and a small Woodline, but it's also in the back of the map, so in the back of his base, so he can do a farm transition off of that as well. It's a very good position for it.
Yeah, and that's one that, you know, if I will say with this map, farm transitions are never fun to have to do, but sometimes necessary. And HRE is one of those civilizations too where it's not necessarily a huge farm transition. They're a civ that a lot of times will just drop 1, 2, 3 farms here and there as the game continues to progress, and then all of a sudden they got 8 to 10 farms, you know, under inspiration, and it's really providing them a lot of food income and not having them this huge gap when it comes to a food transition.
Yeah, these little gaps in the food transition can sometimes even just knock you out entirely if you're getting caught off guard and don't have enough resources to produce enough military at that point in time. Kiljardi now moving forward. It's going to be the Hippodrome, no big surprise there. And Mindwork Palace is going to be coming in for Scarlet Devil, also no big surprises there. A nice interaction there between the HRE and the Macedonian dynasty, especially with the Mindwork Palace compared to a Hippodrome is. Scarlet, or rather Kiljardi, he's going to require his Hippodrome Horseman for an additional +2 damage on his Horseman. Scarlet Devil, he's just going to be getting a baseline with the All Pikes upgrade.
Yeah. A little bit of an easier upgrade over there for Scarlet Devil compared to the Macedonian side, but the big difference obviously is Macedonians have so many different and unique upgrades that they can opt for. He can opt for different routes if he so desires. So we'll see what Kiljardi decides to opt for with his initial silver upgrades.
Silver upgrades, and they did get made a little bit more expensive recently, especially the the armor upgrades are now a little bit more expensive, at least the tier 2 upgrades to get.
Yep.
Imperial Hippodrome right around the corner now. Minework Palace still takes a little bit longer to complete. Mills getting put up in the back, so Scarlet Devil also going to be starting to gather up from the deer there. Just has to be played a little bit more cautiously early on. I think eventually, of course, on this map, players are going to want to move out to the Resource Island map. No play at all yet from either player onto the board. Something I would have kind of expected from one of these players at the very least, to just go for the early ball play in the middle of the map.
Yeah, I mean, it's just we've talked about this map already kind of spreading you thin a little bit. Well, that much food that you are able to secure early on just provides you so much breathing room for later stages of the game. But these players playing it cautiously, playing it a little bit safer, and waiting to make that move until they feel like they can. They feel like they have the military to do so. They have the safety to move out and not lose any villagers with that. Looks like a
now coming up.
barracks. Yeah, barracks is the first choice here from Scarlet Devil. Obviously needs to have some sort of unit to deal with the Hippodrome units that are going to be coming. There we go.
Now, looks like kiljardi is going to be making the move out first to the boar on his side. Has a horseman ready there to be able to tank up some of the damage. Here we could also just use the Hippodrome Scout just to be able to heal the damage up again.
Yeah, won't make the mistake, though, hopefully, of losing the villager like we saw the previous games. And yep, sure enough, the horseman does tank it on up. Quite a bit of damage done to it, but, you know, villagers staying safe is more important here for kiljardi as the time being. Scarlet Devil opting for the stables now to follow the barracks, so we'll have this horseman-spearman composition going.
More and more spearmen in production at the moment for Scarlet Devil. Does he actually have double barracks now behind this? It feels like if with the way the UI is portraying it, no, just the one barracks. Now also adding in a stables on his side. So plays it somewhat similarly to how we've seen the last time from H3, except not going for the Archon Chapel.
Yeah, I kind of thought the same with the spearman. I was like, does he have a second one? It almost is like when Mongols double produces and then also produces one. You're like, is it okay? I got it figured out. But now those spearmen going to deter the first initial mass away from the base. And look at those spears on how fast they are. It's just crazy when they get into the range for their little bit of charge, extra move speed, that they're chasing down horses.
Yeah, it's just the charge there with the additional movement speed. It just adds up quite nicely for them. Pretty insane burst there of movement speed. When they actually do want to charge, yeah, they can somewhat catch up to the cavalry there.
Oh, and with that, we see a horseman go down with the weird pathing. It wasn't, you know, the villager catch up. It was the inside one slowing down.
Now Scarlet Devil also going to be going for a play onto the boar on his side. Both players getting the boar right next to the berries. It's going to be a very even positioning there for both sides. Now outpost alongside a mill getting placed down there.
Yep, so super big importance for both of these players to secure up that long-term food income. It is now spears coming for kiljardi as well, so it is not just cavalry units for him. Decided that he needs to make some of his own infantry units here.
Osman getting found out. Not sure if we got the all pikes upgrade in quite yet. Never mind, it's just being researched now. So not going to be able to take any effective fights for the time being, but the spearmen are going to arrive in time.
Yeah, as you mentioned it got clicked. It was like right at the same exact timing there. We're also seeing some extra upgrades come through from kiljardi's side as well. I believe that's the arrow slits upgrade for yeah, all of the output, well, not outposts, what a Warsaw, whatever you call them. I forgot the name.
Looks like kiljardi now actually making some Varangian guards next. Interesting play. Also gonna be researching the infantry armor upgrade first. Yeah, he's just gonna be going for the mass Varangian play here. from the looks of it.
Against a full melee composition on the other side, if he's able to get a few extra of those melee upgrades on in, it could provide some dividends for himself. He's also going, both players going for a little bit of some horseman raids here.
Oh, yep, raids coming in.
Get found out. Villagers should be able to get in time, and just in time, able to garrison inside that TC.
Able to stay alive. He's getting put somewhere else now. Behind this, horsemen from Scarlet Devil haven't quite gone for the aggression yet. Waited for the upgrade to come in. Are now going to be moving out for the attack. Looks like there's going to be at least one villager going down. One horseman losing his life alongside it. But was overall a beneficial trade there.
Horseman on the other side stopped moving. I was about to say, allowed the spears to close the gap, so a lot of damage got done onto that forward mass from Kiljardi.
I'm not 100% sure with all pikes whether Kiljardi is going to be in a good enough position to take a fight against the ranging guards, but in theory what he could also do is just make men-at-arms on his own side and potentially have some prels healing them up in between fights.
Yeah, but he's actually opting for a little bit of some archer swap from Scarlet Devil's side. So a little bit of 1-1-1. He does go ahead and put a men-at-arms into Q as well. But the Varangian number is about to be a double digits here soon, and not an easy mass to deal with when they start to build up in numbers.
I think most importantly, we now also have the Hippodrome champion out on the field, the Radari champion. And that one, I mean, we talked about, right, like it's an Imperial Age unit in Feudal Age. Also increasing the movement speed on all of the Varangian men-at-arms for the Macedonians now. That means that they're going to be able to catch up to the men-at-arms that Scarlet Devil is now making.
There's 5 more Varangians in Q. Kiljardi is just ready to full commit into this feudal. Question is when does he feel the need to pull the trigger and try to take the fight?
I like that Scarlet Devil so far has also actively been adding in a couple more prelates behind the scenes, so has a little bit more active inspiration out on the map. He's sending a prelate out to the deer now as well.
Kiljardi looks like he's circling around, going to snag a couple of these points of interest to give him some of that knowledge and information if there is a move out anytime soon. I believe gold now starting to run out. The initial gold vein's probably getting a little bit low. At least my guess over here. Maybe not for Scarlet Devil with 0 on it, but Kiljardi must be running somewhat low here soon. Lots of villagers moved out onto the deer. Military numbers basically dead even. Attempted raid here from Kiljardi. It doesn't look like there's anything here. Villagers not quick to react. Does look like, oh, prelate heal comes
Stays
out
alive.
And no villagers fall.
Now, Kiljardi moving forward with a lot of the Varangians. Is going to get spotted out by Scarlet Devil. Scarlet Devil doesn't quite have the army here. 24 men-at-arms at the moment for Kiljardi. Scarlet Devil, that's going to be difficult to say the very least for him to hold.
And now Kiljardi trying to pull some of the military mass back with these bits of horseman raids. I feel like the Varangian mass is good enough to dive to deny this boar here, but Kiljardi's still just waiting patiently, doing a little bit of raiding onto the backside deer. There were way too many villagers here with only 1 outpost, and at the same time decides to dive on the front side boar. So 2 different food denials here coming from Kiljardi's side, taking the fight as well. Archers trying to help on out. Varangians though going for the full circle here. They're so tanky. Horsemen even circling around the backside. Spears fighting up on Varangians is never a good look here. Outposts, though, still staying alive for the time being.
All pikes gives your spears a lot of additional damage, but it's just not looking to be enough. Villagers evacuating now from the outpost, but Varangians still pushing on further forward. Archers trying their best, but at this point, they're not doing any damage to his Varangian guards at all.
Yeah, just too many Varangians for Scarlet Devil to deal with. Doesn't have a unit that can counteract that many. You know, maybe if he had his own Man-at-Arms mass, but TC just getting dove upon. Villagers on the backside woodline trying to get Garrison, trying to jump inside the TC, trying to find somewhere to hide, but Kiljardi's mass is just staying alive and healthy, where Scarlet Devil's numbers are just dropping.
Over 30 Varangians still out there. Scarlet Devil trying his best in order to thin out the mass. Prelate's also going down, just one Prelate remaining somewhere out on the map. More villagers going down the back line. Villagers at the front line now moving out over to wood. Scarlet Devil has no more food in the bank. Getting a couple more archers out. The Hippodrome champion did go down, but GG's gonna have to get called. kiljardi able to get an even bigger lead now in the set, already positioning himself at match point 2-0 at the moment up against Scarlet Devil.
Yeah, nowhere to run, nowhere to hide there for Scarlet Devil. It was just one that kiljardi waited for that timing with the Varangian mass and just said, all right, I have enough now. You're not going to be able to do anything with your feudal age mass that you have built up on your side. Resources overall, not too tilted towards kiljardi. It was more of the unit that he was able to make compared to the other, just not a good equalizing factor there from Scarlet Devil.
Oh man, those ranging gods, I'm telling you what, they've been nerfed, yes, surely. But they're still good. They're still pretty good. They're still definitely a win condition. And the Macedonians just giving us a genuine impression there of just how good the Varangians overall still are.
Yeah, one thing I will say is Scarlet Devil, there were about 4 or 5 different raids that I thought kiljardi was going to get 1, 2, 3 villager picks off of, and somehow Scarlet Devil was staying unscathed for quite some time until obviously the full aggression happened here, as we're seeing. But early on, the Horseman raids, he just reacted to so well, but still just didn't prove to be enough.
Yeah, and we can just see here again in the instant replay just how vicious those ranging gods were, and just able to take the fight here non-stop. And Scarlet Devil, yeah, he needed the Spearman up against the Horseman. He was not able to get in enough raids in order to really stop this Varangian mass from building up, and in the end did just get completely overwhelmed by that. Looks like we already see the draft for our next game over here. Currently match point now for kiljardi. It's going to be Frisian Marshes, and we'll be seeing the House of Lancaster for kiljardi up against the Mongols from Scarlet Devil.
Yeah, it looks like kiljardi did not want to face the good old English on Frisian Marshes, which has been becoming a little bit more popular on that map. We've seen them kind of do the I'm going to be in my corner, I'm going to go 2TC, and I'm eventually going to break out, and you're not even going to be able to equalize it, even if you do take some fish and things like that. But won't have to worry about that. It will be Mongols versus House of Lancaster, and you know, Mongols does have its own attraction on this map as well. There's some different ideas that you can end up playing with it. So we'll see what Scarlet Devil decides for his build order and his choice of approach here.
Yeah, kiljardi most certainly could also just go for the early dog play. Up against the Mongols, could also just decide to try and go for a Dark Age barracks play. Just to, I mean, kiljardi, we already seen, like, he likes it when the game is getting a little bit more uncomfortable for his opponent. So it could be that he just wants to go for the early pressure, as the House of Lancaster with the early Spearman play. I mean, they got such a great economy from the sheep play, like from the additional sheep gather rate that they have. They can easily afford a couple of Spearmen and still get a really good feudal age transition timing, should his opponent not really be like going for a dog play after all.
Yeah, and Mongols also have that opening too, where you have to decide where to place your TC, and a lot of times your Uvu or your gold could be at risk. So that early, you know, Dark Age Spearman play could end up becoming even more, you know, of a game sealing play if this spawn is just not quite tilted towards Scarlet Devil. So we will see in just a second here. Game number 3 is about to begin.
We'll be jumping right on in now. Game number 3, match point for kiljardi, and we do actually see the Dark Age barracks coming in immediately. His opponent, Scarlet Devil, in the color blue, playing as the Mongol civilization. And look at that. Scarlet Devil going for a very, very early gold gather play here. He's killed some sheep next to the Gur to be able to just continuously gather on up there as well. The issue with that is that these villagers are still going to end up being forced to run back towards the TC, as the spearmen are going to be coming in very quickly. But at the very least, Scarlet Devil will not have to worry about not having enough gold for the age up.
Yeah, and I mentioned, usually you have to sacrifice gold or stone. Well, this is a point where Scarlet Devil prioritized the back wood line, which you see a lot from Mongols here, and that means that gold and stone are both at a worry. So after the villagers get pushed off the Uvu, pushed off of the Gur, Kiljardi can start just burning down the Uvu.
And Scarlet Devil, he's going to get a pretty decent age up timing in there overall. But he might lose the Ovu. Villager is actually going for a little bit of a snipe there, pulling out the shivs against the spearmen. Now spearmen are just going to be moving over to the Ovo, and Scarlet Devil just going to have to go for his own age up, and probably just will be putting up an archery range as soon as the age up comes in.
Yep, and there are 4 total spears invested into for Kiljardi. Looks like that is enough for him. He'll probably be moving out to the gold here now and just say, hey, now you're going to have a little bit less stone in this feudal age. You're going to have to use some wood to rebuild this Uvu if he ends up taking it down, which looking like he will here.
Like this, Kiljardi's still out and about scouting. Khan out from Scarlet Devil at the moment as well. Age-up's going to be coming in shortly. Kiljardi now also moving out with villagers to gold, so we'll also be working on his feudal age-up time. Overall, not looking too far behind, and now the deer stones are going to get placed by Scarlet Devil, so we'll be working on the age-up time, sending villagers over to wood now. But the Uvu looks to be getting burnt down eventually.
Yeah, it's always shocking seeing... I think we got the color swapped up. It's always shocking seeing House of Lancasters aging up to feudal age after making 4 spears and a barracks and still not being as delayed as what you'd think here. Next drop off of villagers will be able to match that age up timing. Scarlet Devil smartly, proactively pulls back the Gur, makes sure that no torch damage will go onto that after the Uvu falls.
Something that I actually want to pull a little bit of attention to is the recent change that we've had on the Mongol improved gather upgrades. Is that the improved gather upgrades have all been condensed now. It used to be that for every single upgrade there would be another additional upgrade. They've all been now put into one. And the way it works is you're going to be spending 500 stone, but you're going to be able to basically get 20% additional gather rate on any upgrade for 500 stone. And it's actually now in a spot, I want to say, where Mongols can actually have an insane food income if they go for like an early improved horticulture upgrade. Not saying that that's what we're going to be seeing here, just saying that that's something that I've played around with at the moment and actually feels very strong just how much food you can get from just pastures underneath your TC early on in the game.
Yeah, unfortunately for Scarlet Devil, it'd be hard for him to use 500 stone when he has 0 stone coming in now and stuck at 235. So we will see his first steps after the archers come on out, or after I would say the first archer might only make 1 or 2 here to push the spears on back. Meanwhile, Kiljardi, age up not too far away, only put 3 on the Abbey, so didn't put a huge focus into that, and going ahead and dropping an outpost on the gold to prevent any annoyances there.
Outpost is interesting. That's a relatively big investment wood-wise. Not sure why he wants to go for that immediately. We also see some villagers on stone now, so we'll be preparing for a manor to come in soon. Villager is going to have to get pulled off the outpost as he is getting very low health here, as the Khan has been sniping away at him for a while. Spearmen are also coming in. Aren't going to be able to force the Khan away.
Good reaction there from Scarlet Devil, as it's so easy to just be looking away for a split second and all of a sudden the spears close the gap and take down your Khan. But Scarlet Devil now has finally been able to retake his gold and drop an Uvu, as well as move out to drop a dock. So he's actually doing quite a few different things here to kind of get back on equal footing here as House of Lancasters. But again, just like the outpost was quite a bit of investment, So was everything I just mentioned there from the Mongol side.
First Lord Lancaster on the field. Looks like, yeah, kiljardi is actively producing more now behind this. Don't have the first manor in yet, though it looks like it might just be... Yeah, it just got finished, so manor in the back of kiljardi's base is going to be buffing up the villagers on the... Or rather, is going to get buffed up by the villagers on the wood line, as well as the villagers that are going to be gathering from the sheep there as well. So it's going to be getting a good amount of income there for the time being. Scarlet Devil able to regain control over the stone there, is going to be having the Uvu generating stone from again. And now also going to be moving out to the pond there. kiljardi getting a stable up, so we'll be seeing that classic all-in from the House of Lancaster and Feudal Age most likely in a little bit.
The classic all-in. No surprise here, especially after that little bit of delay you've caused your opponent. Scarlet Devil, though, has a decently healthy archer mass going for himself, but compared to those lords and compared to what we are now seeing in Q, Scarlet Devil's going to need something than just archers.
Yeah, especially against the Hobelas with the additional ranged armor. Archers barely do any damage for the moment. We just see archers out in the field for Scarlet Devil. Not sure if he noticed the stable, but he did just get the eagle up. I'm not sure if the eagle has the stable in the vision. If we could quickly check that, if Scarlet Devil is aware of that going on. Though he is. Yeah, okay, he does know about the stable. About the double stable play even. And he is trying to get some Keshiks out in the field. Just that Keshiks... not going to work too well, as there's already a whole bunch of spearmen out there as well, so I think he'll need his own barracks, and there it is, barracks getting put up now as well.
Yep, outpost barracks, he is still on that water as well, just 2 fishing boats because he, you know, has to prioritize some of these production buildings that he needs so desperately, has been making the wood-heavy archers as well, but kiljardi now moving across... For the first time here, Keshiks do get spotted out. They have to turn and run as there are quite a bit more units here for kiljardi. Here we go. kiljardi starting to push. Those 4 lords of Lancaster is really the difference here between these unit compositions. That extra tankiness.
Yeah, Pierce Armor coming in for kiljardi as well, so these Hobelas are going to be at 4 Pierce Armor. All these range units are basically just going to be tickling them. Spearmen, the first couple, have been coming in now as well. Scarlet Devil actually double producing them. He realized that he really needs them in ASAP, and now the dive is coming in from kiljardi onto the Gold Vein. Villagers jumping inside of the outpost. Archers sniping out the Spearmen. Now that's going to be crucial here for the Keshiks to be able to engage. And Keshiks going on to the Hobelas immediately. Great engagement here by Scarlet Devil. kiljardi maybe a little bit overconfident.
Yeah, he definitely overstepped a little bit. Maybe was feeling the pressure. Maybe was feeling this timing. But loses all the Hobelars. Loses the Spearmen. Now the Keshiks can just close the gap and basically just heal themselves up over here. As I say, that one will fall. But 3 lords, all 3 of these lords will go down.
Forget, the Lords of Lancaster did get nerfed by quite a good margin, losing like 50 health in the Feudal Age. Down from 220, now at 170.
And, I mean, kiljardi now, after the good opening, after denying the Uvu, just oversteps with this potential, you know, dive here. Well, attempted dive here early on. And we're seeing 18 military units to 3. kiljardi's trying to make a swap, dropping double range. I just don't know if he's going to actually have time to do this here. All right.
You see the silver. Yeah, looks like we are going to be getting the deer stones now moving forward. kiljardi actually expanding over to the 2nd gold early on as well. Some archer ranges getting dropped now as well. Yeoman going to be coming out into the field. Look at this play. kiljardi just being sneaky again. Instead of going for the first pond, he skips the first pond, goes to the 2nd pond instead. Let's see, Scarlet Devil. Is he going to scout this? He's not finding that. He's not going to see it.
Oh wow!
Oh my God.
That's one of those plays that you're just, you know, Scarlet Devil moves out and he's like, okay, my opponent's not on water, and maybe that makes it to where he's not as aggressive here. He doesn't pull the trigger and gives Kiljardi the time to breathe, the time to remass and then to recoup back up. Deerstones though being moved forward in an aggressive nature. So as I say that, it doesn't look like Scarlet Devil wants to back away from this, although he might have to.
Oh, Deerstone's gonna have to be careful. He's gonna get placed down now, so at least won't be taking any additional damage. And the Scarlet Devil still investing in some more Keshiks and archers behind this. It's gonna have a decent army composition against what Kiljardi has. Eco numbers are relatively even, and now the military is all forward here from Scarlet Devil, pushing Kiljardi back into his base.
Yeah, I mean, after that initial feudal fight loss for Kiljardi, it just feels like there's such a big hole he's got to come back from. He just needs more time to hopefully, you know, have those pawns pay off, as now he is on one extra pawn compared to his opponent. But Scarlet Devil, I think he's moving out. He's going to be able to see some of these pawns, some of this eco expansion. Deerstone's starting to be burnt though. Oh, still doesn't spot it out, but does have a nice split circle to the gold vein. Hits the house though, gives Kiljardi a little bit of extra time to react to this. One villager does fall.
Villager falls indeed. 4-4 Lancaster being rebuilt now behind this. Kiljardi is starting to fall a little bit behind in the economy because of this villager pickup, and also it looks like Scarlet Devil did expand to the second pond. On 7 fishing ships at the moment, actively gathering gold at the moment with 10 villagers, so just a mass Kashik plan at the moment here from the looks of it. And healing up all of the Kashiks here on the dock, but there is a demo ship in queue.
Oh, this demo ship could pay dividends here.
Oh, the move away. And he cancels it in time. Oh
wow.
My God.
That super late cancel, but just in time. Looks like he is running around to snipe the villager that was building the docks there from Scarlet Devil, so at least one little pickup. And there's a lot of villagers that just ran out on the deer.
Drew getting sniped out there on water.
He spots it out with the scout that he has here.
Villager's gonna get pulled. Hobelas don't do too much damage, but it's gonna all add up. One villager looks to be going down. Spearman not moving in time. Outpost giving that additional movement speed. Villagers could be pulling the shifts here just to keep the Hobelas there for some more pickups.
Oh, Spear's able to get some damage down. Ultimately, though, no units fall. Kiljardi has been able to remass here in a decent way. Obviously doesn't have the stronger, you know, Keshiks on his side compared to the other. Deerstones gets fully burnt down, though. Well, is about to. Spears decide to turn there for a split second. Every time Kiljardi turns, though, just the archer mass able to pick off more and more units here. Kiljardi just doesn't have the same mass here, doesn't have that same strong front line like the Keshiks. And another huge win for Scarlet Devil here. Keshik's now at the point with no spears on the other side. They can basically dive whatever they want. This outpost is just going to be a healing mechanism for them now.
Yeah, and Kiljardi kind of just stuck inside of his base here now. Still massing up some more yeomen and Hobelas, but Hobelas just don't really seem so convincing now alongside the yeomen. It's a pretty big mass of Kashiks now at this point. Not that many spearmen in for Kiljardi, so he doesn't have sufficient counters against this.
Yeah,
More
I mean,
docks have been coming up for Kiljardi, so he's still trying to pump up the food income there.
Yeah, I mean, if the Hobblars are fighting the Keshiks head on, though, that is a losing fight time over and time again. Another demo ship in queue. I think there's enough melee units here to burn this dock down before the demo comes out, though. And sure enough, it is. So 3 less fishing boats able to drop off here for kiljardi. Whole army mass is over on this far side dock for Scarlet Devil. Looks like kiljardi. Oh!
Gets a good connection in. Kiljardi, in the meantime, is sending everything forward. Kiljardi looks like he wants to go for a little bit of a trade there in the economy from Scarlet Devil, which is all forward at the moment. Scarlet Devil realizes, though, has the outpost there, pulls everything back, tries to deny kiljardi from getting any value here at the front. And it looks like kiljardi, after seeing this, is just going to pull everything back again.
Yeah, has to pull everything back, and there's actually a flank now coming for Scarlet Devil, so it looks like he's splitting the unit mass too, so Scarlet Devil might just be able to win this fight on 2 different fronts. Doesn't quite see the rest of the military. There are quite a bit of villagers that have to run as well. The villagers do get spotted out.
Movement
Scouting
speed arrow
utilized as well, so should be able to see more of this army. Sees all of the economy from kiljardi trying to move, dropping Castle Age in front of this army mass. He's trying to drop the White Tower, and there is no way that thing should go up.
Kashik's just chasing after all of the villagers there. TC trying its best to do the damage, but so many villagers going down. Kashik's actually getting pulled back. Wants to do more damage to the military, but there's still 4 Kashiks, now 5 Kashiks remaining, hitting the villagers as they're trying to get the age up in. 17 villagers working on that, still falling steadily though. Yeah, at this point, might as well just send all the villagers out there now to finish up the landmark, but so many villagers do go down. There we go, more villagers getting pulled now. Needs to finish up the White Tower inside of his base.
More Kashyyyks arrive, though. More archers arrive. I mean, he finishes it, but at what cost here? Castle Age is done. He loses a big fight right before that. But what can he do with Castle Age now?
It's a couple of immediate Earl's Guards in, just to help him out a little bit. Hobbela's not able to do much there. Earl's Guard just going for a little bit of a run around. Yeah, kiljardi, that is a
Look at this.
Big economic loss.
He needs food. He's going back to the berries that he just got pushed off of. Scarlet Devil doesn't see it, though. Is taking a step back himself. Might be trying to have his own castle timing matched. Instead, though, another Keshik in queue. I mean, while kiljardi lost a lot of villagers, he has been able to take a lot of these pawns, just like Scarlet Devil has, so at least is somewhat on, you know, not as bad footing as you would expect after seeing what we just saw. Another demo in queue here. The rest of the army for kiljardi starting to arrive as well. Probably will cancel that demo. And sure enough, he does. He actually cancels and requeues it just in case Scarlet tries to go back for some more burning again. Oh, another demo. Oh, it was actually a fishing boat. He had to cancel and requeue a demo in that one. And another dock trying to get burnt. Demo does pop out, but the Keshiks are at a side where they're not the easiest to do damage on, but still a good connection. Hits about just about half of them.
Yeah, behind this, kiljardi. Looking at the overall income, it's more than what Scarlet Devil has at the moment. He's massing knights. There aren't that many spearmen out there at the moment for Scarlet Devil. So kiljardi could actually find a pretty decent timing now.
Yeah, it could find a pretty decent timing and could find some good return raids as, you know, it's going to take quite a bit of units to just deal with one of those knights from kiljardi. Speaking of, main engagement starting to happen. There's only 4 spears here on this front side. kiljardi, though, turning and running. The Keshik mass is circling, about to hit his gold.
It's the Vilds.
Quick
Johnny
reaction,
realizes that pulls the Vilds in time. Shouldn't lose too many there. Knights still trading out in the middle of the map. Spearman focusing the World Guard, so not losing too many knights here in the process. It's going to pull him back either way, though.
Kiljardi has 7 knights in queue. Those lower health knights, too, are going to be able to come back and heal.
Yeah, Abbey of Kings still giving him that nice AoE heal. And the Keshiks just don't really stand a chance against these normal knights. Scarlet Devil now trying to get his own Castle Age going shortly. Yeah, that's some good healing coming in there. 6 health every second. The Abbey of Kings just healing these knights up incredibly quickly. And now Kurultai coming in for Scarlet Devil.
Yeah, Kurultai is on its way. So important for Scarlet Devil to match up this Castle Age. He essentially has a full farm transition in as we see all of those pastures next to the TC. So will not be hurting too much as far as the food income goes for him. Oh, good
big Knight
hitting the berries. So this is some of the damage that Kiljardi needs to continue to do for himself. The age up has come through, so as you mentioned, crossbows are now going to be starting to pump on up, so only knights will not be too useful for that much longer, but still useful for the time being. Diving the Mongol base.
The villagers, though, with the Yam Aura in combination with the
they hit on the down
from
the
Wheelbarrow. Gonna be able to run away, but yeah, split ups coming in. TC and Outpost trying to get that knight down. Villagers over here trying their best in order to escape. No Yam Aura movement speed buff over there. Currently at 22 knights for Kiljardi. This man is just spamming knights out of his mind here at the moment. Scarlet Devil tries to go into a crossbow mass, but it's going to take some time for that mass to really add up there.
Yeah, and Keshik Mass is at least healthy for Scarlet Devil, so as the Castle Age upgrades come through, those Keshiks will be a little bit more useful, but still just not quite to the same effectiveness of these knights. Springled in placement, trying to get some extra damage in, ends up taking down one of those lower health knights, which is so important because we mentioned the healing already, and those lower health knights can get pulled back up to full. 2 different knight masses though for Kiljardi. He's just doing a great job at thinning out some of the herd.
Just mass knights for the time being. I feel like Kiljardi at some point here soon is going to have to transition into another type of unit. Typically, I mean, you can outmaneuver a lot with the knights, but the Yam Aura eventually should be able to allow Scarlet Devil to keep up with the movement speed advantage.
And we actually see 2 more archery range being dropped for Kiljardi, so he is deciding to add some range on the backside with some yeomen, but it's going to take some time for that mass to build up, and time he may not have with the military mass knocking on his doorstep. There aren't a ton of spears here, but there still are a few. Kurultai just finishes on up, and right as it does and gets set on up, Kiljardi turns on around.
Seeing more Yemen being produced at the moment for Kiljardi, getting veterancy in as well. The additional archery range is going to help him get a decent number of them out there. Needs to be careful, though, with the positioning at the moment with the Kurultai in front of his base. Yemen aren't going to be able to take the best trades, but do, of course, have just a little bit of extra range. Kiljardi moving out with a lot of villagers down the gold. It's going to be dangerous if he gets found out there.
Dangerous indeed. A couple of the spears thrown away from Scarlet Devil, but Scarlet Devil's mass is just so big right now. It's so scary for him to deal with. Spear and crossbows to counteract the knights. The yeomen are just, that number needs to triple right now for Kiljardi for the yeomen.
Takes down the mill, takes down the outpost, getting a little bit of additional raiding bounty there for Scarlet Devil. Relics are also starting to get picked up now by him. Kiljardi does not have that position to be able to go for that.
It's just this back and forth in front of Kiljardi's base. Kiljardi doing everything he can to hold, but just numbers are not building up for him as fast as they are for Scarlet Devil. You know, I think that's really the pastures under the base for Scarlet Devil. The fishing economy, you know, it does a solid work on this map, but gets to a point where it's just not enough when these massive engagements start to happen and later stages in Castle Age. You need more food income.
More and more cash eggs getting produced by Scarlet Devil. He's getting close to the 200 out of 200 population cap. Kiljardi behind this. Sitting at around 130, so very far behind overall when it comes to the population out there. And now Scarlet Devil, he's going to find the villagers out there on the gold. Kiljardi's lifeline in this game. Cash eggs not reacting quite yet. Or not at all. Just passing through.
Kiljardi
and now we see traction trebuchets coming in.
Wow, that is a unit that doesn't get made too often with the traction trebuchets, but Scarlet Devil wants to start the siege, wants to start taking down some infrastructure. Galley is there near the gold vein to try to do some damage, but it's pretty laughable at how much damage those are doing to those Keshiks.
We haven't seen any Lords of Lancaster coming in recently. I feel like the Lords also just buffing up the Knight health could have helped him a lot in these fights so far, and I think he definitely needs it, but it's now 57 to 91 military. Army value, there's a decent gap there, almost 2,000 army value gap. And now this is going to start to become a lot of raiding bounty for Scarlet Devil.
Yep.
Actually, it's the third traction trebuchet to one-shot the buildings.
Yep, but every building that gets taken down, it's just extra resources for Scarlet Devil. Kiljardi trying to pick off maybe some of these reinforcing units, but there's so much vision from the outpost of Scarlet Devil. He sees all of this happening.
Oh, that was a great synchronized shot.
Oh my god.
Villagers getting found out. Kiljardi, if he notices, he does notice.
Immediately notices so many villagers, but the all is happening. This is under the White Tower. This could be a throw from Scarlet Devil. Not all the military is here for Kiljardi, though.
Spearman at the defense. The archers are still feudal age from Scarlet Devil. White Tower doing a lot of damage here.
Kurultai trying to move forward, trying to get set up. White Tower is firing as many bullets as possible. Those Keshiks are melting right now, but Kiljardi's army is melting as well. Just decides to jump on inside of the TC as well, using the infrastructure the best he can, but 3 traction trebuchets are sieging this all down. So while it could have been a throw, it was not a throw here. It's still more than enough military for Scarlet Devil. He's still slow pushing with some siege and had spears to protect that big villager mass that was moving out.
Kiljardi raiding inside of the base from Scarlet Devil. I think all the villagers here should be able to be safe inside of the TC, and also relics here for some potential defensive Wololos. Spearman also on the defense. Gets actually a couple of villager kills in, but will need to run away now from the Spearman. Another traction trebuchet. Actually 5 traction trebuchets now on the field, I think. How many is there? Yeah, 5 traction trebuchets now.
Yeah, so really will start to put the hurt on the White Tower. I'm actually surprised that Scarlet Devil doesn't just kill some of the production buildings and things like that that would really delay Kiljardi as well and provide that extra bounty bonus. Synchronized shot utilized again, not quite as effective as the first one that we saw. Knight's trying to be that front line still, but Scarlet Devil just has so many units. He's ready to end this game here now with 5 of these traction trebuchets. White Tower went to burning, went back to heal, back to burning, just more and more of this bounty bonus.
Now White Tower getting taken down. Only 2 landmarks remaining at the moment now for Kiljardi. Earlier it looked like Scarlet Devil might lose to landmark victory, but it looks like Kiljardi could be facing that fate instead. Fight getting taken now. Synchronized shot coming out onto the crossbows, but not enough Yeomen remaining to do any critical damage. Kurultai still buffing up the units there in the back. And the army from Kiljardi just slowly but surely getting wiped out entirely. It's now 30 to 80 military units. And surely this is it. Scarlet Devil able to get a point on the scoreboard. and start his way back into this set.
Back into this set indeed. Kiljardi was up 2-0, but Scarlet Devil finds the first victory for himself here on Frisian Marshes. It's actually crazy seeing how close the total resources gathered were throughout the greater course of that game, just because it felt like Scarlet Devil was so far ahead for quite some time.
Yeah, I mean, it's just these little raids in between, like good Keshik usage here and there. Kiljardi did a great play out there on the map, though, with the dog play. Just skipping the first pond. He was just not found out there for quite a long time throughout this entire game, so getting a lot of food income there out on the map. The dive early on, yeah, was just a little bit overly ambitious, I want to say. And, yeah, losing all of the Lords of Lancaster there very early on does for sure put you on the back foot by quite a big margin.
Yeah, what an exciting game number 3. We already see the map for 4, and now we see the Civ choices. It's a same Civ matchup we saw earlier today that went to the side of the Byzantines, but let's see if Kiljardi decides to go for a full knight and only knights as JD, or if he decides to change up the plan here a bit.
Gotta say, Kiljardi's JD can hit quite a bit differently. We know that he's a connoisseur when it comes to making games difficult for the opponent, just making them a little bit more messy. And yeah, it's gonna be an interesting one here for sure. As you mentioned, we did have that matchup coming in earlier. I wonder if we're gonna be seeing any different kind of reactions, any different kind of iterations to that. Last time Baltoon went for just knights only throughout the entirety of the game. Don't think it's gonna be knights only from Kiljardi though, but I'm willing to let myself get surprised there.
You always can get surprised by some of these players, some of these game plans. He was thinking about knights only with this House of Lancaster play here as we're seeing the replays, and almost ended up giving him some comeback ability if he had found some bigger raids. Fortunately, Scarlet Devil had so much vision with the outposts he had kind of laid throughout the map that it was hard to have those knights surprise him and have any, substantial return raids.
Getting the last fight there in the instant replay in. Was overall just a pretty neck and neck game, I gotta say.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like after that big feudal dive from Kiljardi that it was just, Scarlet's game for the taking. But Kiljardi did not make it easy for Scarlet Devil by any means after that lost fight.
Yeah, very good night raids all around the map, just making it incredibly difficult there for Scarlet to actually close out the game. But in the end, I mean, it was a very, very big lead that Scarlet was able to, build upon. And he did go for a very early on food transition with the pasture, so had very safe food income there all throughout the game from there on out. The last game, if this is gonna be if this could be a victory for Scarlet Devil, we're actually gonna be seeing a King of the Hill game today.
Yeah, a King of the Hill game, and obviously Scarlet Devil has a Roos at his fingertips to be one of the choices for him on King of the Hill, which is one of the most leaned into civs, as well as we've seen Ottomans picked quite a bit, and Kiljardi has that one under his wheelhouse as well. So still some good options for King of the Hill, but obviously it is a pick 2 snipe 1 civ draft here, so not the easiest to just get the exact civ that you want here.
Indeed, sometimes you have to kind of give your opponent a choice, right? Which one do you want to snipe out in the end? And sometimes it's an easy choice, sometimes it's a little bit more of a difficult choice, especially with the different potential matchups that could be coming in. Maybe you get one civilization on your opponent's side that's good against both of the civs that you picked. And so on and so forth. You have to really rapidly make some pretty difficult decisions there when it comes to the sniping.
Difficult indeed. We kind of already talked quite in depth about this matchup before in the last series between Scatter and Baltoon, but it's one that we expect Byzantines to opt for the good old javelin throwers. That kind of forces JD to lean into the melee route, but we'll see if Kiljardi actually opts for some archers of his own. Like we should end up seeing most of the time in 1v1s. We do see it, other than a couple of those players such as Louis is one and CSO are kind of the first two that really come to mind with that strategy.
Yeah, it can be a pretty wild one when it works out. Really goes to show like the strength of the knights. And yeah, I don't think we're going to be seeing it this time around, though. I know Kiljardi to just play more of an archer-focused game there with Jeanne d'Arc as well. But it is time for us to see for ourselves that it is now still match point for Kiljardi, and we're diving into our game number 4 here between Kiljardi in the color orange playing as Jeanne d'Arc, and Scarlet Devil in either blue or purple playing as the Byzantines on board land.
Here we go indeed. Let's see the game plans. Let's see these opening build orders and what these players have in store. Obviously, you know, not too much excitement here early on. Just going to be the sheep gathering. Just going to see, you know, these little intricacies that these players do. You know, is Scarlet Devil going to opt for 3 cisterns or 2? Probably just 2 at the start, but we will we'll end up seeing here.
Say there's not going to be any early Dark Age aggression coming into play here early on. That both players just going to be going out to their gold resources. Byzantines, of course, also gathering up some stone for the early second cistern. And looking at the spawn here, oh my god, Scarlet Devil, he's getting a similar treatment to what we've seen from Scatterbrained earlier in his set against Baltoon. All of the resources, all of the berries and the gold in the back of his base, very easy to protect there.
Yeah, and so we'll see, you know, what's in store on over here. Looking at, you know, the overall spawns of this map, just similar to the last Byzantines game. It's very similar spawning point with double back berries and, you know, back gold as well, but I'd say not quite as easy to wall as what we saw earlier for Scatterbrains.
Yeah, there are some good walling spots, but I think it's still decent. Probably still decent to wall. You're not going to be able to wall in the third berry patch, though. That is to the top side. That's going to be a little bit more difficult to wall. School of Cavalry now going to be coming in for Kiljardi. So, of course, going to be working on that with JD as well, trying to soak up a little bit of that early experience for her. Villagers already going out to wood there as well.
Yep. And we will, looking at the cistern expansion, it looks like he's already prepping the third one as well, so Scarlet Devil is opting for the 3 cistern opening. 3 villagers still on the stone, so might actually be opting for just the greed 4 cisterns, maybe even 5 at this point.
Yeah, it's quite a lot of, quite a big investment there for him. But of course, could all be paying off. As these cisterns do rapidly increase the gather speed on the villagers. Grand Winery now going to be coming in for Scarlet Devil, and yeah, looks to be we should be getting that cistern level 4 in sooner rather than later. Villagers getting pulled off the stone now. Keeps 1 villager out there though.
1 village. He's slowly gonna end up getting the 5th cistern, you know?
Slowly but surely.
School of Cav timing for Kiljardi, very, very strong. It'll be at that 410, just below 415 mark. We'll be able to immediately queue up a knight as well.
Age up has been finished on up now. First knight already in queue. Kiljardi moving up with 3 villagers. Probably, I'm going to be guessing, to the deer out on the map. So we'll be starting gathering resource from the map early on. No pro scouts seems to be coming in for him.
Yeah, so already seeing a big difference in these 2 games that we saw. with the same civs. It's you know, we saw one JD go for immediate night into pro scouts. It kind of delayed that initial push. Meanwhile, kiljardi said, I don't want to delay that initial push. I'm going out on the map. I'm moving. I'm going to just take these deer, even though it might not be the most efficient with there only being, you know, 3 deer at some of these spawns. It still allows him to use those resources that would have been on pro scouts, would have been on the extra scouts for that as well, on out of the way. And kiljardi actually opts for, is that ranged JD?
Looks to be ranged JD, yeah. So kiljardi taking a little bit of a gamble. Should Scarlet Devil, which he absolutely should, be going for the javelin throws, JD is going to be quite vulnerable here throughout the entirety of the game.
Yeah, it's so easy for those javelin throwers to pick her off in these bigger engagements. First night raid attempts to come on through. Outpost on the berries works to perfection for the time being. But there is no barracks at this time for Scarlet Devil. There are no counter units out here for the 3 knights and JD that are already out. So if kiljardi can continue this pressure, can kind of attack from a few different angles, this could get very scary, especially with range JD. The you know, those first couple Limitanei that come on out aren't as easy to go ahead and actually defend up from these knights. Another night raid attempting to come through. Just a good amount of idle time already caused. It looks like Scarlet Devil was moving out to the gold, maybe a villager pick up there, and another knight charging into the wood line. I mean, Scarlet Devil is just behind quite a bit here.
Had 2 villagers getting taken down there. That's already pretty heavy losses for the Byzantines early on. Limitani count, it's taking a while for them to get out there, and at the same time, kiljardi already prepping the archers. Once again, JD, all she really needs is 2 hits and then the Divine Arrow ability in order to take a village down.
Scout stepping a little bit too far and gets taken down by JD with the last shot. JD moving forward again while there's distraction on the front side. 2 shots and just like you said, 2 shots and then her activation takes down a villager. So Scarlet Devil just running thin, has 6 Limitanei out on the field, but there's 5 knights, and guess what? kiljardi, it's not only knights, he's following this play up with archers of his own. Limitanei staying as one big group, but that outpost allowed Scarlet Devil to see where the knights were circling to, seeing where they're grouping up, and they're also staying grouped with JD.
Scout still in the back there, just making sure it's not going to be any gathering going on in the back of his base. kiljardi once again able to pick off a village. Oh, not quite. No. That was close though.
Yeah, very close there. The archer and JD, though, going to try to pick up a Limitanei. Just any little bit of extra damage here does start to add up. kiljardi moving out to the next set of deer. 2 of those cisterns getting pretty focused down. The front one, obviously, you know, not quite as much as this back one, but the damage does end up adding up, and villagers can't go out to heal those up too easily.
First batch of javelin throws coming out now at the front side. JD and the archers need to be careful. 2 volleys need to kill an archer there.
Yeah, and back wood line has been swapped to from Scarlet Devil. Just too easy for kiljardi to focus that front wood line. So it says, all right, back one is maybe safe enough. There are 4 archers and JD here, but like you said, the javelin thrower mask can clean those up very quickly. kiljardi can't quite take this fight. He's trying to kite on away. Javelin throwers able to pick off one of the archers.
Most important thing now for Scarlet Devil is to get the second batch of javelin throwers in. He also needs to just keep making these Limitani. kiljardi, mass knight play now from him. He's trying to get ready for an eventual dive into the base from Scarlet Devil.
Yeah, we are seeing that knight number stay healthy. 2 more in queue. Archer number slowly building up. Not quite to where it needs to be. The key for Scarlet Devil is he just queued up the second batch of javelins. The second batch of javelins is so crucial because he'll be able to start one-shotting all the archers. gold trying to be resecured from Scarlet Devil as he is at -1 gold per minute.
Definitely needs a little bit of gold as he just continues losing it with those stats. Second batch of javelin throws now going to be coming in. At this point, he's going to be able to finally start one-shotting archers if it comes to an engagement. Outpost placement is going to start getting fortified now.
Scarlet Devil, though, now starting to run himself a little thin. He's on the back wood line. He's on the front wood line. Almost is able to pick up one of those lower health knights there now. And actually, he refocuses all to the front wood line. We'll have 2 different outposts there to give him vision. Now a 3rd outpost on the backside berries. So just a lot of information that Scarlet Devil is providing for himself, which leans into that safety, leans into the ability to counteract any of these night raids.
Kiljardi behind this, just messing up more and more knights, keeping most of the military next to his villagers on the deer, just making sure that he's not going to get raided on there. Javelin throws, throwing a couple of spears, and actually being able to pick off a knight there.
Yeah, just not the greatest angle that Kiljardi took with that knight trying to run on away. Allowed a couple extra volleys to go in. This knight group is pulling all of Scarlet Devil's mass back, but there's no follow-up on the front side. Kiljardi just slowly massing up more and more and more.
And expanding out onto the map. He's lacking a little bit of food income at the moment, but that is because... Oh, gets the connection in against some of the Limitani here. Able to take one down. Not losing a single knight for it from the looks of it. Might actually... Oh.
Nope, they all get away.
Gets away. That's crazy. Yeah, Kiljardi moving out further and further onto the map, going out to the bottom, or deer there as well. And once
Looks
again,
like
Knight just gets
villagers picked up from those knights, and they were trying to build a wall, and the knight able to get out without losing his life.
Great pickoffs there by Kiljardi, but looks like he might have had a little bit of idle time on his TC as well. Either that or he researched textiles.
And it could be even a little bit of both over here. Scarlet Devil reinforcing that outpost on the front side, knows how important of a location this is for himself, is getting very, very close to going up to castle, and that just might be the timing Kiljardi uses to pull the trigger. He's got 16 knights, he's got 17 archers, and obviously JD as well, but JD's at the point where if she steps up, those javelin throwers just gonna one-shot her.
Yeah. Now Aegypt's gonna be coming in for Scarlet Devil. Not in a bad position at the moment, I want to say. Golden Horn Tower, 9 villagers working on that. Kiljardi, though, pulling everything forward. He sees the Egypt coming in, killing villagers there on the wood line. 2 going down immediately. Make that 3 villagers that do end up losing their lives.
And he might use those knights to go to the back berries as well that he scouted out earlier. So while Scarlet Devil might be able to complete this age up, but sure enough he doesn't dive into it before Scarlet Devil is reacting, but still another villager that falls. So Scarlet Devil losing more and more during this age up. Knights just dive head on first.
JD getting focused down.
JD falls.
And now forward outpost by Kiljardi. He's really leaning into this now, but there's still a ton of Limitani out there. Javelin Thrower still actively working on the archers, actually actively working on the knight count instead. Doing a good amount of damage to them as well.
Villagers
cannot.
Kiljardi's trying to take the deer forward. He's trying to drop an outpost, but
that's a little bit too greedy here.
This has to be in vision of Scarlet Devil. The outpost is right there for Scarlet Devil.
That's 1 villager down, 2 villagers down, make that 3 villagers down. Means that the villager count at least a little bit. Veterancy in now though on most of the units.
Yeah, I mean,
javelin throwers.
This is one where Kiljardi, he wanted to take advantage of that castle timing. He's picked up a lot of villagers. It feels like he should be further ahead. He's just not. That Byzantine olive oil economy is just working strong, and the javelin throwers counteract range JD so well. She wasn't able to do anything during that fight.
And that, of course, is the big danger when you're playing with the ranged AD version up against the Byzantines. It's just that javelin throws can really end her quite quickly. And kiljardi didn't have pierce damage behind this.
Yeah, upgrade just now coming through. That's a shock to see. With how many archers he had, it's just, you know, not too expensive an upgrade when you're this heavy on the gold. Now, though, kiljardi gonna try to match castle age timing, it looks like. Does have some knights circling. There is no outpost here, so we'll be able to get some more connections onto these villagers, onto those berries. A little bit of a late reaction from Scarlet Devil, even though very quick reaction still. 2 more villagers fall down, but more importantly, food income is being delayed at this start of castle, and kiljardi somehow not being punished for that forward deer move. It's the same exact unit composition that Scarlet Devil is still continuing to lean into. Obviously, just some veterancy involved. kiljardi is not, it's not a castle age play. He's doubling, tripling down into knights here with 4 in queue.
Yeah, he's not looking for an age up anytime soon, but it feels like he's kind of like missed his own timing multiple times at this point in time. And there's just so many mercenaries now coming in from the Golden Tower as well. After all, Scarlet Devil, he is on Cistern level 5. He's down 8 villagers, which is pretty big, and oh, might have almost been down another village there.
But this is now with veterancy on the javelin throwers. The feudal age knights, they're going to take a lot of base damage from that many javelin throwers. It's not an easy fight to take. kiljardi has enough food in the bank for an age up. He's just lacking the gold. So we'll see if he continues the knight production or if he tries to stall that out for a little bit. Does at least deny some of this relic gathering. Some more knights splitting off to try to hit the backside gold that Scarlet Devil moved out to. So maybe a few more villager picks here in this game as Night Dive just now happens. And sure enough, oh, is that Textiles now finally in?
Oh, looks
yeah.
to be, yeah. Textiles is in. We're now seeing Cataphracts coming out onto the field as well. kiljardi's got a decent food bank, but he's still just non-stop investing into knights. If he cancels them, could almost just go up to castle age. Yeah. He's gathering up a lot. Okay, 27 villagers on gold. He's going to be getting castle age very shortly.
The knights just trying to escape with their lives. They're getting chased by a big mass. Well, 3 cataphracts over here. The other knights are circling around, but finally the damage should be... Oh, the scout into the stealth forest, but the trade post ends up making them having some awkward pathing on the way out, but still able, or market, still able to escape. Yeah, look, you knew what I meant over here. Knights split on either side of the wall. kiljardi could get a ton of villagers here.
And he is getting quite a bunch of them. A little bit of formation shuffling coming in, though. kiljardi catching up. Getting some hits in. Monk getting pulled there as well. Camel Riders in there. Some charges coming in. Monk actually getting killed there as well.
Just did not lose
trying to run.
Scarlet Devil did not lose as many villagers as expected. Textiles just such a worthy investment against French or JD here. And kiljardi, though, still circling, dropping the guild hall. And Scarlet Devil's been castle for so long and just hasn't really been able to move across the map yet.
Guild Hall now coming in for kiljardi. He has a decent amount of archers, but it's 25 javelin throws now at this point. Still night raids going on behind all of it. And JD is going to be able to level up here now as well.
Camel Riders also starting to be produced for Scarlet Devil. We saw that was a big importance in the game against JD we casted earlier today. But, I mean, these Knight raids have been relentless here. Scarlet Devil just not full walling, not respecting the Knights from Kiljardi. Yeah, Scarlet Devil might have some vision, some knowledge, some information, but has just not dealt with these Knight raids effectively. Age Up comes through, Veterancy going onto the Archers, onto the Knights, but Kiljardi, he can't take the fight yet, not until those upgrades come through. This is such an important timing that Scarlet Devil has, and it's pushing.
He's going for the push. Siege Engineering being researched behind all of this. Archers just not able to take the engagement. Veterancy only just now coming in. We have some of John Champions in there as well, but not going to be that good up against the Limited at the front. They're also going to have to get taken down first. Kiljardi is actively kiting those away.
Camel's gone though.
As well.
Camel debuff no longer active. JD healing utilized. And a few Knights on the flank. This could be the good fight that Kiljardi needed. There's still a good amount of spears, but Javelin throwers now getting attacked on the backside. The Knights are still alive, and that is all that matters for Kiljardi. There's no more Limited here forward. There's no Cataphracts here forward. There's some reinforcing units, but is it going to be enough for this many Knights?
Doesn't look like it. He's still stepping up, though. Scarlet Devil is. Doesn't feel like he's got the agency for it, though.
Camel's taken down again. Gold's found out. Now so many villagers on that gold get found out, but the army is here and near enough to hopefully deter that away for Kiljardi. Rest of the Knights still pushing forward. Villagers just trying to escape with their lives.
Kiljardi pulling the Knights back upward. Still 4 Knights in queue for him. Scarlet Devil barely has 4 spearmen out on the field, so Kiljardi should, in theory, be able to survive this aggression now. And he is 11 villagers ahead at the end of the day. So all of the damage that he did so far seemingly paying off here.
Headed back to that gold right here. Was able to clear that Cataphract, and now just needs to wait until he has enough to take this fight. Thinks he has enough to take this fight, as the spear number is still not there. There are some camels, but camels have shown to not be enough yet. Wololo attempt has happened. Good distraction during this. JD, though, firing on the backside. Camels, the camels are just providing that debuff. It's so strong, and the Knights are not all here.
Yeah, remaining Knights getting picked off now. No more Archers remaining, just a single one. JD herself just trying her best in order to still stave off the aggression there. But Villagers once again having to get pulled away from the gold vein. JD running for her life.
Yeah, I mean, it felt like Kiljardi did so much damage to the economy of the Byzantines, and it just doesn't matter. Scarlet Devil's continuing to mass up, continuing to keep numbers strong. Look at the olive groves that are in and around the winery as well as the mill. I mean, the olive oil income is through the roof here, so more and more batches of those javelin throwers, more and more batches of those camel riders as well.
Yeah. It's just still such a big mass here of these javelin throwers. More Knights, or rather more Limited getting made now as well. And with the amount of food that Scarlet Devil has, he's going to be able to pump them out for days.
Yep, 400.
Oh, no.
That's
too much.
Yeah, 500 food in the guild hall, just not going to be enough to... You don't want to take that either if you're Kiljardi right now. Food hasn't been your problem.
Oh, the military on the other side as well.
Oh, no.
Kiljardi's getting found out there on the retreat. Potentially? Maybe? Should be.
Oh, he was just out of vision for enough time. Villager.
They get spotted out. Oh, that's...
And there they all are.
That's so many builds. He's not noticing.
He just runs by. He just runs by. He's fine.
Oh my god.
He's
crazy.
Secured gold. Oh my gosh.
Secured is a strong word. That gate. Screw that gate in particular.
Yeah, now it's time to go attack the villagers. Kiljardi is picking off some of the reinforcing units with his Knights, is going to try to maybe do some return damage like we've seen him do earlier, but I feel like he just needs more and more military. And it's so hard to keep up with this Byzantine economy that we see. He's only at 375 food per minute. He needs to get out and get some extra food. Maybe the guild hall is what he's relying on here. Just gonna grab the guild hall, try to stabilize.
He needs it. Yeah, I mean, imagine if he's getting enough food in from the guild hall to get an age up in to Red Palace. It's gonna be difficult for Scarlet Devil to end the game then.
I don't think he can Red Palaces. I think he needs more military. He needs to do a nice old drop-off and grab that food and stay alive for the time being, because he does not have much time left at the vision of this game.
Yeah, definitely looks like it. Javelin throws, just getting a couple of hits in on JD. JD, the villagers are all being pulled now as well. Villagers working overtime just to get slaughtered.
Heal gets used.
Oh my god. Not like this.
It's not enough. I don't want to be a Kiljardi villager, that's for sure. They just got sent to the slaughter.
Yeah, that is going to be one dead JD, and GG's going to be coming in. We're going to be going to another game number 5, Dabson.
Another game number 5 indeed. You know, with some of these, it's always crazy. With the round of 16, you expect a few more, you know, one-sided series, but not today, not in this tournament. We have seen a lot of back and forth, a lot of just tight games, and Scarlet Devil shows that the Byzantines versus JD, it might be a little bit of Byzantine favored.
Yeah, so it would seem the Javelin Throw is just definitely being a very, very good counter unit out there, not just against JD, but also up against the French. And the follow-up then, once you hit Castle Age, getting those Camel Riders in, just being able to debuff the Knights, the main bread and butter from Jeanne d'Arc by 20%. It's an incredible tool to have at your disposal there.
Yeah, and this game was crazy because I felt like Kiljardi did so much such a better job compared to the Baltoon versus Scatterbrain game of picking off a bunch of villagers, not allowing Byzantines to feel in control in the early game, but then all of a sudden it just still wasn't enough. This fight right here that we saw maybe just overstepped a little bit. Could have maybe waited. We saw him stabilize in Feudal Age for quite some time. If he didn't take these trades, maybe it would have gone a little bit different, but going down to 2 knights after this fight when your opponent just goes up to castle just gives him so much breathing room here.
Yeah, so many great raids though from Kiljardi all throughout. Just the age of timing, the follow-up, I felt like it was kind of stretched a little bit too far out there. Next up though, going to be moving over to King of the Hill, and it's going to be the French for Kiljardi up against the Rus for Scarlet Devil.
Yeah, so we talked about Rus being one of the high prioritized picks on King of the Hill. Obviously, Otto was in that same boat, but Otto sniped out, and Kiljardi felt more worried about the Ayyubids matchup than the Rus, and it makes sense with him having French on his side. So French versus Rus is going to be the series at hand on King of the Hill here.
Yeah, Rus, of course, on a map like this, just being able to put up a ton of these hunting cabins. Just getting a ton of that passive gold income there to scale throughout the game. And eventually, the high trade house in the corner generating you just even more gold and food to be able to be used there. French, though, of course, I mean, we know the guild hall for what it is. Just eventually you get that panic button that you can press. Well, not really a panic button, but more like a instant age up button. And yeah, it's just once you get to that point, once French do reach Imperial Age, and once they just have a lot of production buildings around the keeps, there are few civilizations that are going to be able to keep up, let alone raid them when it comes to having all of these red palace emplacements on your TCs and keeps.
Yeah, and that's where Scarlet Devil, I mean, he got Kiljardi to the point in that game that I was calling it out. I was like, he needs to grab the food at 1,000 and just try to stabilize and not try to go up to Imperial Age with that guild hall, which feels so bad because obviously it scales quite a bit with how much is in there. But it was one that kiljardi needed to take it. He didn't opt for it and just got taken down. So another exciting game 5 at our hands. All of this, you know, this moving into the next rounds on the line. This is the last weekend to qualify for these players, so they definitely want to be moving along. This last game on King of the Hill is so important.
Yeah, it definitely is. I mean, it is the, like, if you don't win this one, you're going to be out of the tournament. You're not going to have a chance anymore to qualify for the main event. So players definitely having to give it their all. I can't believe it that out of all the players that we're going to be seeing here today and tomorrow, there's only going to be one that ultimately ends up qualifying, that will be able to go and attend the Red Bull Wololo Londinium in London.
Exactly. Such an important, you know, day ahead of us. Such an important day tomorrow as well. There's so many names that we see that haven't qualified yet that you're like, that it's crazy to think about, but they are still trying to fight for their spot to make it to London.
Yeah, surely a lot of the players have also just been trying to min-max the prize pool from the qualifiers, but now it is time. We're going to be jumping into our final game in this set between Scarlet Devil and kiljardi, spawning in here as the French on King of the Hill. Over in the color either teal or blue, it's going to be Scarlet Devil playing as the Ruse, already opening us up here with a double hunting cabin play.
Yeah, we have seen a lot of these builds diverge, especially when it comes to King of the Hill. We've seen up to four hunting cabins. Looks like Scarlet Devil, not being on wood, is just opting for the typical 2 hunting cabin start that has been around for a while.
Yeah, sometimes, like, recently we've also seen, like, triple hunting cabin openers here on this map in particular for the Ruse. Looks like Scarlet Devil is not going to be opting to go for that. Instead, now going to be stopping after a second hunting cabin and just moving over to the sheep again underneath this TC.
Yeah. So now, you know, it's not quite the same amount of gold income that you'll see with the extra hunting. It still is a substantial amount of gold income that comes through. Ruse is always shocking, where it'll be like 15 minutes into the game and they haven't even dropped a mining camp on their gold just because of the amount of passive gold income that happens.
Second scout already in now for Scarlet Devil. Just looking around here for some additional sheep. Though this is EGC King of the Hill. So most of the sheep spawning around the TC there.
Yep, makes it a little bit easier. Makes it, you know, not quite this feels bad with some of these scouting, some of these sheep spawns that you will see. kiljardi, though, we just saw how good he was raiding with JD. Well, Ruse doesn't quite have that same ability like Byzantines to be able to recover from all the damage and all the raids. So, you know, they still have some passive things going for themselves, but it just doesn't feel like it's the same regard as Byzantines does with how much economy they will have even after losses.
Scout just moving by here. Skull of Cavalry coming in. Golden Gate also coming up. For Scarlet Devil, and kiljardi just scouting out the base here. Gonna be finishing up his round around the map.
Yep, we'll have all of the info he needs as far as Scarlet Devil's initial base goes. Probably same thing we were just asking about, but at the beginning, you know, is he going to go 2 hunting cabins, 3, maybe 4? That kind of can change your game plan as well. It's just the opt for 2. Each one had a villager with a sheep on it as well, just to prevent some extra walking time. It gives your early timing just a little bit better.
Survival techniques coming in for kiljardi. Not out on the deer yet, though. Not quite sure what's going on there. Oh, a little game pause coming in. Not quite sure what that is about. Wondering if that has to do with the early survival techniques research from kiljardi.
We will end up seeing here. You know, we're just waiting. We're watching. Yeah, there's nothing that's jumped out on the page that would, make me think that this is calling for an early remake or things like that. But you never know with what these players will observe compared to what we are seeing here.
Yeah, players at the moment, not sure what's going on, but current game state, pretty even here so far.
You know what they say, when things go wrong, exclamation mark blame.
A classic. What the hell is what we hear from the production in the back? Oh, pause again.
They played and then they paused again. We're up to 501 now on the blame game. Looks like we are catching back up to where we should be at. Kiljardi is moving out onto the deer, so no more pause involved.
Mining camp is starting to get torched down by that singular scout now. A-Job is going to finish up, so Kiljardi's going to be able to get a single knight out. We'll be able to deter that scout away.
Barracks already dropped for Scarlet Devil. Obviously, we know he will need some spears to deal with those knights and has the barracks down earlier compared to what he had it on Byzantine. So hopefully we'll have a little bit of a better time defending his base. And with the wall he is dropping here now, it actually doesn't allow Kiljardi many places to try to do any raiding because Rus's economy is very, very condensed. And we already talked about not needing to go out on the gold.
No need to go on the goal at all. Looks like we got some early spearmen in here now for Scarlet Devil. Pro Scout also has been started up now. Scout stays alive. Scarlet Devil just goes to torch down this next mill now that Kiljardi's using front side to gather up some of these deer. Yeah, Scarlet Devil just going to be going for the Pro Scout play now and wants to buy himself some agency on the map with the spearmen now.
Yeah, wants to be annoying too with those scouts, and most likely we'll do a little deer heist as well once Pro Scouts does finish, if those scouts don't get pushed on away. But those scouts, sure enough, Knight arrives, pushes the scouts away, so Kiljardi should be able to continually gather from the deer for the foreseeable future.
Fortress coming in now as well on the wood line, gonna be getting that 20% drop-off buff in now as well. Spearmen up to 4, but Knights already at 3, so if all of them are here, should be able to actually take a fight. Scout, low health, but it's gonna stay alive for the time being.
Yeah, Kiljardi was almost able to cut that scout off and get him picked off. Might not seem like much, but that's one less scout ferrying deer back to your base. A lot less deer over the course of those first couple minutes. And with Pro Scouts, I always say the first couple deer are the most important ones because it gives you that initial boost of the economy, allows you to kind of stabilize what investment you put into Pro Scouts. Speaking of scout trades, we have a 1-for-1. Woodline though. Just a good job by Kiljardi, continuing to circle, continuing to make sure those knights don't die, but just cause as much annoyance and idle time as possible. He is massing up the typical military mass we'd expect from French. It is Knight Archer.
Knight Archer here. No archers out yet from Scarlet Devil. Is looking to... Wait, where's that scout going? Looks like he's dropping the deer off in its natural habitat.
It just, sometimes you gotta do what you gotta do.
Now Archer starting to fire off against those spears. They're gonna have to be a little bit more careful. And Scarlet Devil, how many stables does he have? Triple knights in queue now.
He is trying to get some knights out quick, but the spearman number is falling so fast that if that number just gets thinned out, who cares if you're going knight versus knight when your knights are going to be weaker and you don't have the extra backup from the spears. Scarlet Devil moving out onto berries because he hasn't been able to ferry enough deer back. Loses another scout. This has been such a strong early game here from Kiljardi.
Yeah, now Spearmen and Knights in theory should be faster. Or rather, should be better in head-to-head engagements than Archers and Knights. But you're gonna have to actually be able to take the fight. Like, the engagement needs to actually happen there.
Yeah, it's also harder for you to keep up with the night production if your opponent's on deer and you're having to move out to the berries. But now Kiljardi having to move back a little bit with his mass should allow Scarlet Devil to secure the rest of that first deer pack, and he's going to go try to do some raiding on the other side. Looks like reinforcements might be able to spot this out. One archer does, and that archer's kind of a blessing in disguise as it allows those villagers on the deer to split off.
Oh my god, look at this wall. Little triangle wall here to keep the villagers safe. Please tell me he's going to put a gate in there as well so I can reuse it later on.
I don't see why not.
There it
no
is.
Reason to delete it. Knights have been able to turn around and get some extra charges, get some extra cutoffs there. Not enough to pick off Knights from Scarlet Devil's side, but still forces back the potential attempt on the raid.
Oh, Spearman coming in. Kiljardi's going to realize in time. Loses one of the Knights. Could have been worse, but still hurts to lose a Knight there.
Yep, and now scouts are going to continue to move out to the next deer pack here for Scarlet Devil. It looks like Kiljardi has a few Knights maybe waiting by that deer pack to spot out the scouts. And Scarlet Devil actually had to drop 2 farms. The scouts do see the Knights waiting over onto the deer, so not an easy take and secure for Scarlet Devil.
And not able to really get a lot of these deer packs in. Now we see some villagers from Kiljardi going for a wall up there at the bottom hand side, securing a deer and the boar there as well. These kind of walls can really start paying dividends as the game goes on, securing all of that food there at the bottom side.
Yeah, it's also one of those that after the next deer pack gets secured from Scarlet Devil, I'm sure he just goes ahead and clicks the deer at the bottom. And it could make the scout's path very awkwardly to the middle of the map through the TC if he's not paying attention quick enough. So could cause some other effects. Still tons of villagers over onto the berries. Archers now starting to snipe down those spears. They are one-shotting those spears, but engagement about to be forced in on. And so many archers get sniped out right off the bat when they turn, and a knight charge goes into him. Kiljardi taking the fight still, hasn't lost a knight yet. A few quite low health though.
Yeah, Kiljardi, couple more reinforcement archers coming in. Now has enough in order to start one-shotting the Spearman again. Scarlet Devil not able to take this continuous fight, as I mentioned. And with it...
The spear number, it's gone!
Oh, he's just not able to get any more Knight kills there. That is brutal.
The spear number just got obliterated. He has 0 spears left. He's down in Knights, down, obviously, doesn't have any archers going for himself. So Kiljardi, just a huge pickup. Villagers almost... was it 2 wolves down there, or was there a unit down there
Must
too?
have been a couple of wolves looking at their health bar.
But Kiljardi, what a big pickup on that fight. A huge engagement, and like you said, the Spear vs. Knight usually is the easier unit composition to have, but with that many archers and with the Knight number favoring Kiljardi, it just leaned into the French side.
Yeah, a little bit too close for comfort there. Once again, Knights finding the scouts as they're out and about, trying to get some of these deer in. First wall, if the first wall doesn't succeed, you know, just put up a second wall.
Yep. I'm actually surprised he doesn't try to rebuild the gate and have the other villager kind of tap along and try to fast build the wall, but he's not only building a wall on that side, he's building a wall on the north side to deny the next set of deer. He's diving the base. There are some spears that have been remasked, but the archers are still here. The wooden fortresses.
Aggression on this man. Doesn't lose too many villagers, but yeah, this is idle time being forced there, and just a sign of weakness there inside of his base.
And the wall finishes on both sides now. So Kiljardi has essentially secured double boar for himself at this point if he wants to take it.
Scarlet Devil now, he's trying to look for his own age up. Still 6 tickets remaining inside of the Golden Gate that he could exchange. Not a ton of food remaining for him here at the moment. Will be about to drop that high trade house, most likely in the corner. But yeah, kiljardi just secured the entire resources out there on the map. High trade house now getting dropped in the back of Scarlet Devil's base. This is not a comfortable place to be at the moment if you're Scarlet Devil.
No, not by any means. And I feel like the biggest thing kiljardi did this game was just delay the deer from getting into the base of the roost. And that delay just made the military favor kiljardi, allowed him to win some engagement, allowed him to continue the pressure. And now we're seeing the high trade house dropped when Scarlet Devil's in a position that he's probably just going to get all in.
Scout's getting taken down. And yeah, all in definitely on the table here. We are starting to see some more emplacements actually coming in alongside pierce damage upgrades. So Scarlet Devil is going to try and get the maximum value out of all of his defensive buildings. Most likely will also be getting castle turrets in. Villagers now getting pulled to the back of his base as kiljardi's army marches near.
More quick walls coming in. More of a farm transition has happened. The castle age finishes. Scarlet Devil is having a wooden fortress being burnt. The archers can easily step up if the spears try to deny that. So 7 villagers inside. They're starting to run. They're trying to get on away. Knights go for the charge. Archers shoot a couple shots off. That's about 8 villagers gone. 9 villagers gone. There's not enough room inside the TC, so they decided to start running forward to the outpost, I guess. Actually, there's still room inside the TC. I'm not sure what they were thinking. Knights going for the charge. Upgrades haven't come through on those knights yet, so still a lot of damage can be done here. Knight upgrade finishes.
kiljardi, he's smelling blood in the water. He's going for the complete annihilation inside of Scarlet Devil's base. And GG's going to be coming in. kiljardi able to win the set in game number 5 with a very, very aggressive play.
Yeah, just did not allow Scarlet Devil any breathing room. Just like the previous game, he started the aggression early. This time, though, the big difference is Scarlet Devil didn't have the same civ at his fingertips to be able to counteract that aggression, didn't have that same kind of free unit, free olive oil growth going. And when he took that first initial big engagement in the mid-map, kiljardi just won it without, I don't know if he lost a single knight in that fight.
Yeah, it was incredibly well played there with the micro as well. No spearman was able to, the spearmen just at the end weren't even able to get a single knight kill, even with so many low HP knights being there. Yeah, now kiljardi able to advance further in the bracket. I believe that, who was he gonna be up against? It was going to be, if we can take a quick look at the bracket here while we're getting the interview ready. So we can see who won between Puppypaw and Gully-Deckle. Looks like it's not quite up to date yet, but I do believe that the set should have already concluded between Puppypaw and Gully-Deckle, as this has been quite the long set that kiljardi and Scarlet Devil did play out here. It is gonna be, yes, it is gonna be kiljardi up against Puppypaw, if I see that correctly.
Yeah, chat saying down. Puppy 1-3. Oh, there we got the upgrade or upgrades. We got the update on in. Puppypaw versus kiljardi. We got Lucifron versus Numadon, Beastie versus Demu, and Anatan versus Baltoon matching up again.
All right. So there we have it. I believe that the sets that we are going to be casting next is going to be Beastie versus Demu. So that's going to be coming up here next. Before that, though, we'll have a little interview here coming up next.
Congrats, kiljardi. A hard-fought set, a hard-fought 3-2 victory there for you, but moving on to the next round.
Yeah, it was a long series. Demu is already mad. I made him wait so long.
Yeah, maybe it was a plan to just get Demu a little upset. But starting out on game number 1, you ended up sniping the Byzantines over Sengoku. We've seen a lot of the other pro players kind of prioritize sniping Sengoku and not fighting against them. But is that a matchup you just kind of felt more comfortable with?
Not really. Like, both of the matchups were not so great for me. at least what I thought, but it ended up going well with the China, so I'm happy with that.
Yeah, there was a point you had about 50 Lancers, and us casters, we thought it was about to just be a huge clean wipe as far as the fight went. The fight actually ended up going a little bit more even, but at that point, your economy was just through the roof. Is that a fight you thought the engagement was just going to end and be a lot more heavily favored for you?
Yeah, I was surprised that I basically traded down evenly instead of just winning. I think the Shinobi did quite a bit, but I'm not sure. Maybe I microed it wrong or something. It didn't look right to me.
I still got the W on the game number 1, and then following that one, you ended up taking the 2-0 lead with the mass Varangian spam, which has been nerfed prior, but it's a game plan. Is that just one that you saw a matchup versus HRE, and you kind of just that map specifically it just made sense for you?
Yeah, I think Macedonians can do pretty much anything. They're pretty strong at the moment, but the Varangian guards are pretty good on that map, so I just made only those.
Hey, it worked out well. It was too much for the HRE to deal with, and then followed up. You had a good early pickup of the Uvu against the Mongols, with your House of Lancasters. But the first big fight, you ended up diving and just lost a lot of the lords, and it felt back and forth for a while, but it just felt like it was too much of a gap to come back from. Is that one where you tried to just do something different after that and get back on your feet, or what was kind of the plan with the House of Lancasters after that?
Yeah, I thought I had a timing there with the four lords and some units, but I just got crushed. I don't know what happened. I thought that it would go much better than that, but after that it was pretty much dead.
Yeah, and the last two games, I would say they're similar, but they were a little bit different. You started out just very aggressive with, obviously, you were JD and French, very similar on both maps with just the full knight aggression early on, and then ended up transitioning into archers behind it. You didn't opt for the full knight against the Byzantine economy like Baltoon did, but did it feel weird not being able to take the W after I felt like, 5-10 villager picks that I felt like your harassment in that game was just to perfection almost.
Yeah, at some point I did this shift click with all of my villagers to the front lines by accident, and I didn't notice it. It was first 8 villagers come to the front, and I was like, oh, why did these villagers come front? And then the villagers just keep coming front after they finish the resorts, and I was like, what is happening? And then I realized that I have misclicked all of my villagers to the front lines, and that pretty much cost me
so
the game.
that's where we saw the outpost being dropped and you taking the forward deer and whatnot. We were kind of confused by it as well, but I guess that does give us a few answers to some of the decision making there.
Yeah, I have never done that before, so I was very confused that the villagers keep coming forward.
Yeah, and then obviously the last game we just saw, French versus Roos. Obviously, Roos is the one of the, I would say, top picked civs for King of the Hill. Is that one that you felt like the matchup you were still completely fine, or you felt like maybe Roos still has their attraction on King of the Hill?
I wasn't really sure. I haven't played that matchup at all on that map, so I wasn't sure how it's gonna go. But then he went for the spears, and then I kind of felt comfortable that he can't raid me, and I just got the resources on the map, and it was pretty easy to play from that point on.
Yeah, you did a great job of delaying the professional scouts play. You took down a lot of scouts, and like you said, you just kind of took that full map control, which is exactly what French want to do. So very well hard-fought series, but I'm sure you'll have another one ahead of you. I believe Puppy Paw is the matchup here that you'll be facing as well.
Yeah, that's gonna be a tough one, but Myriad did it last weekend, so maybe I can do it this weekend.
There you go. Just take some tips from Myriad after his victory there. Big congrats again, moving on to the next round, and I'm sure we'll be keeping an eye on the games and keeping updated.
Yep, thank you.